Alex Ansary here. It is April 17th in the year 2024. Good morning. God bless you. Namaste. And maybe a few words thrown in. Energetically, may you be awakened today. This will probably be a 2 to 3 hour video. Later on in time, I may get into different titles of videos. Some of the information may be repetitive, but if this channel is monetized later and has the views, maybe an extra 100 or 200 can eventually come in, but I won't hold my breath. So I want to just talk today about this period in time that we're in, some of the positive mental health things that I do to unplug, to maintain a clear-headed connection with God. I didn't record myself because I lost my camera, as I said, and I'm out of batteries. I have to put AAA batteries in my higher than average quality handheld audio recorder. But I did drive around for an hour megaphoning, and so for me, that is a spiritual practice. I was at the library, so I had to change the world without megaphoning, and I looked through it, and it wasn't very substantial. I would not diss on the effective spiritual base, especially with Christ megaphoning. I'm in a predominantly white, black, Latino community. That's primarily Christian, Muslim, other religions not really aware of. Don't believe I've seen a Jewish temple. But we have an increased Muslim population like certain areas. But there are certain areas in rural America where you don't see that population, like Pagosa Springs. Not that they should. But I do think that we're going to mention a few things. They shouldn't be bringing people from other countries into America and putting them into highly densely populated areas where there's already a lot of people. But if you put them in rural areas, there'll be backlash there too. If I was in control of the immigration system, things would be very, very different. I want to be connected with people on Facebook and Twitter, but I find it to be a distraction at this time. I am wanting to zone in on the proper battery bank for my current solar panels. I just got a few Faraday cage bags that will be large enough for the laptop that I'm using right now, and cell phones and gadgets. So if you are able to prep, I wouldn't get obsessive with it, but at minimum, I talked about the water barrel drum. I'm not personally able to get water delivered that I know of, even though I'm in a more populated area, so I'm going to have to hand carry it. And when I was off grid, I was able to go get water for free that came from the well in Archuleta County, drive down the road there, crooked road, to the free water source at the gas station near Pedro Road, fill up while being stared at by the people, and also bikers roll through that area once in a while that seem to have a serious attitude problem. I don't have a lot of connections with people in Colorado, but I have heard from a few people in Denver that the situation isn't good there. And I showed you briefly a channel from an individual in Costilla County, but the vibe that I get from that region of the earth is not positive. I don't think that I should ever return. I should think that I should set my horizons. I want to pass through and like camp for a day. I don't ever want to live there because the energy is low, but you can't have a spiritual experience in Costilla County if you mind your own business, don't do YouTube, or don't involve yourself in local politics. What I did, folks, was a response to the fact that I was homeless and I wanted to be a part of a community, and the people that I picked to be a part of my community, and the people that I helped, were not people that were worthy, but it was a worthy cause. But those people themselves in Costilla are not worthy, but it's a worthy cause. You see what I'm saying? So it was a very uncomfortable situation to be in, because I do believe that the Creator did want me to stand behind off-gridders in general. Again, it was those off-gridders, though, that also continued to maintain ties with suspicious people that I called out. And then people still continue to blame me for that whole thing. So there's a lot of black magic and evil involving the people looking at Costilla County, black magic energy and attacks, satanic thoughts, opposite of Christ and loving your neighbor. And so I'm going to be moving on, creating more of a cataloging of my content. So for those of you that are gonna, no matter what, keep watching my content, even if you're having a negative experience for it. I do not watch content that I do not like. So there are serious differences between us. Also, I do not believe in just using the internet to just attack people that are truthers. I believe in using the internet because God gave it to us, because I believe in God who brought the trees. The trees aren't without God. There was no trees without the God force that brought the trees, you see. So I've lived amongst people that like the trees and stuff. There's a lot of people that are tree people that are not spiritual. So just people that want to live off grid and do off grid and be around trees and just smoke marijuana are not spiritual if they hate you for sharing your heart and light. That's not kindness. That's not off grid. That's in the grid. That's in the matrix. That's taking the vaccine. That's taking the microchip right there. You don't have people like me commonly on a planet of 8 billion. Yes, I have before and will again declare that I have a certain level of power. You don't have to get an attitude with me and go, so you think you're special? Folks, it's getting boring and insulting. I'm now 44. And I've been going through this. What kind of a human are you? My whole life. And it disgusts me. Okay? There's going to be some days in which I'm all meditative and lovey-dovey, and we'll label it meditative, lovey-dovey, zero perceived emotionalism, percentage news, 0% news, 100% meditation, and it'll be like color-coded like a label. Kind of like a sticker, blue sticker, yellow sticker. And then we might have the parental advisory. Emotional, rant, angry, off his meds, off his cannabis, right now on the sativa, not the 1-1, and really I prefer the 2-1 for the record. 2-1 is CBD dominant with the minimal of CBD, THC. Minimal CBD dominant, minimal THC dominant CBD. I've had my extra sativa dose, is how we started this morning. Sativa. So we need to resist the mass mind control. So in the same way in which different strains will affect us vibrationally, also including the day and proximity to moon cycle and solar flares. And we just had a geomagnetic storm. What does that mean? Extra long video today. Boom. And it was in the air last night. And I'm like, drink. You were just at Target. The beer you drink, Voodoo IPA. Folks, don't look too deep into it. Voodoo IPA, $8.99 at the store down the street, $11.99. And I'm like, just go to sleep, Alex. Take your ashwagandha, puff that indica, and go to bed. Now, I thought that I would go into the grocery store this morning and pick up some AAA batteries to do my early morning walk. Like yesterday, I walked for an hour and a half. I don't always walk every day first thing in the morning, but I do walk in my living space where I have a bed, kind of back and forth, jailhouse style, which is actually what I did a lot of off-grid. Early in the morning, getting up at 2 or 3 in the morning off the grid, walking back and forth, back and forth. A lot of chain smoking because I smoked back then, for those that don't know. I now have 4 years off cigarettes. I rarely drink, but I've been drinking more regularly, but that does not make me an alcoholic. I feel still that despite the fact that I'm so transparent with you, so honest, just because I occasionally drink a beer. You should not be criticizing a man like me occasionally having a beer, okay? And it's breakfast. And if I want to have tequila, I'm going to have tequila, and you can't stop me, okay? So, here goes nothing. In all moving on. So I'm following my inner guidance. See if my microphone here slipped. Check 1, 2. Okay, got to monitor the audio levels. I'm following my inner guidance, and I'm going to stop drinking the immediate tap water for a little bit because I suspect there's drugs in it. If you know of a good reverse osmosis filter that I should be getting, like the Berkey, it like visually to me, I don't see how the Berkey's good. It's like what? Like a can thing? It's just me looking at it going, wow, okay, if that really is the best. If you really think the Berkey is the ultimate for a urban water supply with drugs that the drug takers are taking that is going back, if you really think that's the ultimate, hoo-yah, I will strongly consider it. What I've got now is a life straw. What I've got now is in my mind, I've been driving around doing road trips all around me in my immediate environment, and I am on the hunt to find locals that aren't going to judge me for all the things that I have put on my main channel. I'm thinking about creating special websites and platforms to help my community prep because I think I'm smarter than them. Yes, I also think some of them are way smarter than me that have been here with regards to evacuation. I'm smarter than them with regards to the big picture. They're smarter than me with regards to local preparedness for the region. So are people in your community that have been there longer than you, that are old timers. People that know how to homestead. Country boy can survive. People that have that get away from my daughter energy, whereas I made mistakes when I was a young man, and I don't have a daughter to protect, right? Or any of that. Which is also a relief, but my heart does pound and worry for other men out there, whether I like them or not. If they have family and kids, doesn't matter whether you're off grid or in the grid. You face certain dangers, and I don't want to be pushing too many fears regarding invasion today, but just understand, when China and Russia, if they do come here, I've been telling you, they're going to bring some of their allies. Who are their allies? And we'll just move on from there. What the things that are being depicted now in the news, the allies, the access that's being built up. Yeah, it's not something to frown upon and just ignore completely. Just because we have the Western New World Order, whole Illuminati, Bush family, what you've been told is the Alex Jones Endgame. But even in Alex Jones Endgame, he talked about the role of China. But on that note, with him and China, and we'll be brief, and Trump, they don't go beyond a certain level in their criticism of China and Russia, especially Russia. I do. Remember that. I have a track record. I personally have a track record with you that's documented on video of warning about Russia. So as these things increase and increase and increase, the light bulb should go off inside your mind that I've been right about more things that you at present are giving me credit for. I was hoping that some of you would come around a little bit more than you have to understand what happened off-grid, how my involvement in geopolitics and the off-grid movement affected my ability to live off-grid, when I think that I am more deserving of living off-grid than some of the criminals and vagrants that are, say, in Costilla County now. I'm not going to get involved in whatever's happening there, because the person who I try to reach out to, has certain issues that prohibit him from being social on a basic level. Whereas I am a follower of Christ now, and I am willing to be social on a basic level. Even if you have harmed me and you're willing to admit it, I will forgive you if you be a man about it. And so when I go on these long, long rants, I don't want you to get defensive, but I truly do believe, whether we're talking about, I want to stop talking about family, but we're talking about blood relatives and others, it's just not a society that feels generally remorseful. And I think that we should repent before Christ of the horrible things that we have done, or mistakes, or greedy materialistic nature that we've had, so that we are viewed upon favorably by the true gods when the lights go out. I'm not going to tell you everything now happening behind the scenes as far as interference. I actually am quite transparent with regards to that, but I'm just gonna, and I have not been maintaining a journal lately, because I've just been doing lots of this, and then reading, and then I'll watch some movies. But yes, I'm going to start color coding this and being like, this is news, analytical, monotone. This is appropriate for your friends and family. Now, this right here, this is gloves off. This is the real Alex Ansary. This is not appropriate for your friends and family and the woman that you met on Tinder, just to use an example, because it came up once, or somebody else. This is a video that's going deep, that's going to offend a lot of people. But this video over here is worthy of being put on a DVD and then dropped off, in my opinion. Doesn't mean that you're going to agree. It means that I'm going to do some critical analysis of my versatile nature, and I'm going to attempt, but no promises. This is a goal I've had. I'm going to attempt to color code it so you make the decision whether you're going to benefit from that style of video or not. One woman who I thought should be liking all of my videos, no offense, but she's like, I really miss your videos in Portland. And once I started making videos in Portland, she stopped liking it, until one day I painted this. Then she's like, okay, I'll like that. Well, that's nice that you like that, but if you really wanted me to come back to the airwaves, and I come back to the airwaves and the new Alex, you don't say anything, it leads me to think that it's possible that you like the old feminized Alex and you don't like the oomph behind this. Because I'll tell you what, I do not approve, ma'am, guaranteed, of the men that you listen to. I just want you to know that. You know who I'm talking to. Resident of the Hawthorne area, older lady that was my friend back in the day. I do not approve of Rachel Maddow. I do not approve of Barack Obama. I do not approve of Joe Biden. I do not believe Joe Biden is against white supremacy. I just want there to be transparency between us. And I believe that you could have done more to help me stay in Oregon when I was there. and watch my channel. And I have to suspect that the things that I've said about Obama and the left could have offended people into thinking that maybe I deserved it. And I'm here to tell you, I didn't deserve any of that. I did nothing wrong. And we're going to get the t-shirt. Alex Ansary did nothing wrong. Alex Ansary did nothing wrong. And we're going to get it out there. Along with the Sunwheel cross that says, you are the one, to karaoke that song from Brain Smasher, Love Story. You are the one. Not that that movie gave me the inspiration. When I talk about going to Las Vegas, I'm talking about doing self-promotion, walking around, and I have a different view than you. Some of you you don't even understand what I think. Even when I tell you for hours and hours, you make interpretations. I don't gamble. There were interpretations when I went to Vegas that I was doing it for gambling. I like the Vegas energy at times of just a lot of people in a more festive mood than the zombie apocalypse. They are zombie off the hook there on Fremont Street, but on the Strip from just walking around it briefly. I did a podcast with a guy named Jared, who is a Facebook friend, who met me there at random, who drove up when he heard I was there in LA, and we did like a radio show in Vegas. And then while I was there, I was so full of energy that I was like, I should do a show in Vegas, leading me to my next thought. I should open up this mineral water that I was. So I'm guided. What I'm saying is I'm guided to buy water. I'm guided to drink more fruit. I'm guided to eat halal meat, but I still eat pork. I'll admit it. Those of you that are Arabic can shun me. I'm sorry. Bad, Alex. Bad. I eat pepperoni pizza and have for years in front of my dad. He never stopped me. Now that I'm come across some Christians, even if the guy was rude to me on Facebook, that has the book over here on exorcisms, because I believe I'm an exorcist, martial artist, truther, off-grider, shaman, on and on and on, author, documentary filmmaker in the making. I am many things. Good man to the good woman when I have that opportunity, but I'm not currently putting myself out there to the scum of the world that's just making itself available to anyone and anything that comes by. Also had a dream where I was talking to some beings in spirit, and they're like, you're Christian? They were mocking me, just like that Muslim one was mocking me, going, you're Muslim? You don't have to necessarily be in someone's religion to talk to them in the spirit world or to talk to them at Kroger. So every single attempt, for whatever reason, to reach women that I see with hijabs, not burqas, but hijabs, have failed. I've never said that these Muslims had a natural evil to them, but in this region of the earth, I cannot find a good one, which is kind of freaking me out. And I would never agree with you being in a position of judging me and being authorized to do that. Would you want it done to you? But do I understand, unfortunately, why some people automatically judge me as one of them in Costilla and acted accordingly out of like a sense of wanting to survive? Yes. And did they repent of their actions? No. This evil is still going on. People have not changed, and many people are capable of murder. It's not defamation when they fit the profile. They want to say that I fit the profile of doing X, Y, Z, and then I don't deserve to live in nature off the grid to warn you about China and Russia. I want you to remember everything that you did to me when the walls of our country come crashing down. That's all I want. Don't you forget what you did to me when your country is destroyed, because I serve Christ and I pray every day that there is retribution. And that this is not over when we are dead. I had a right to live off grid and to live where I was living. Now, maybe I was destined to be somewhere else, because now when I look at that area, it is a dump. And I have made attempts to contact locals in that area of Archuleta County to get a report on what is actually going on in them hills. I tried to do some research on the internet, and that area is not big on reporting the reality of what's going on. And I'm assuming that there's more dangerous people that are legit felons out of the joint, that are armed when they shouldn't be, that are up in them hills. Being that it's SOAR maximum, we can probably predict and foresee that there's some methamphetamine activities going on, because if you've been watching me and you see something in at least what I say about the SOAR cycles, there is more doping going on and drinking going on, and killing and fighting and domestic violence going on when the solar cycle ramps up. Speaking of which, we saw that last night. And I mentioned that, yes, and my thought was to go drinking. Basically, in the night before, I finished one beer. So when I have a six-pack, I don't finish the full six-pack like an alky and then go back for more. I have a few beers at most. Now, what my dad experienced in Portland with the hard alcohol, which is not in his native heritage to drink, and it was, people always thought, my white friends always thought Viking, more Anglo. White friends always thought that I was like inferior and weak to them for not wanting to drink. Anybody remember that movie, Weird Science, where the guy's like, drink? You know, he drops the bottle, drink. Then there's that beautiful song, Don't Answer Me, by Alan Parsons Project, where he comes to the aid of a woman who's being beat up. But even in that video, in that era of cannabis being illegal, what does he do to get his confidence up? He takes a couple shots of alcohol. Alcohol is bad for you. You shouldn't have to drink a few shots of alcohol, going to my next point. To have a sex with a woman. And the vast majority of the time, with the exception of one person, and I'll try not even to cite her anymore because, honestly, I don't see her on her way to heaven at this point. I'm not afraid for her to know it. That's why I sent her those emails. She can just enjoy the rest of her life, see if I care. She broke my heart, right? And it is what it is. And these people have no remorse. They think it's funny or something. It's almost as if they get off. They have a genuine spite for good men, the women that incarnated right now. Women are collectively evil. I'm doubling down. And so the women that aren't evil need to support the idea of the men and women being exposed so that we could save our earth and pick better partners to procreate as our earth is destroyed. Is the evil right now the programming of the men and women of the various races that has led to this enslavement situation? So they got to wake up with the people that they're betting down with to create, and there's parallels in what I and Passio are saying. And then Passio goes off in a left field and attacks believers in the paranormal when he himself has invited authors to his conference like Eve Lorgan. So if you're going to have Eve Lorgan at your talk in 2013, Mark Passio, send him this, because you're starting to act like you're hearing me and act like a tough guy, and you don't impress me, bro. Why don't you get on the horn and debate me? Why don't you get on the horn and debate me live? Then we'll see how you can handle Alex Ansary live without you just screaming at me. Let's see if you, Mark Passio, can get a moderator. Okay, you get 3 minutes. You get 3 minutes. Now go. Let's get it on like the UFC, and I will give you a level of truthing you've never experienced in your life. What I meant to say is I'll hand your ass to you in a debate. Now, if you want to scream back and forth, bro, you're screaming at the wrong dude. You're saying you're the only one. You're saying Google yourself. And I'm saying, dude, what are you doing promoting Google? Are you unaware of the AI interference? Are you promoting the system? Are you still a Satanist, yes or no? Because we know you got a problem with Jesus. We know you got a problem with Muslims. We know you got a problem with other believers in God, but you say you're not a Satanist. Bro, I think you need to check yourself. Your girl brought this book to your conference in 2013, The Dark Side of Cupid. I'm about to read it. Are you saying I shouldn't read this book? I asked you a question. And your buddy Curtis Davis got $20 from me and never gave it back, who said that I was to blame for being homeless. You have people that believe straight up in New Age bullshit at your conference, and that you have the gall to put on. So that's the end of that one. If we need to do the Alex Ansary Speak to Mark Passio show, we can do these segments. Because these people don't intimidate me when they get all huff and puff. There's no video of Mark Passio hitting the heavy bag. Period. There's no video of Mark Passio exposing human trafficking of women in the future. When I hear him arguing in sex, I almost have to turn it off. It sounds like he's just sexually frustrated too. I understand what that's like as a man. But you should be more critical of the spiritual parasites that come through. And if there is a woman accusing you of passing something through, well, I believe her. In a heartbeat, bro, you have a level of rage and anti-human sentiment to you that is not normal for a human. You have a level of rage towards people that are on your side that is not healthy, that is scaring me. And I have speculations about you and a certain somebody about how that thing really ended. You know what I'm saying? Don't you ever act like you're high and mighty. I was involved in this before you were. And people like you and people like Alex Jones and people like David Icke cast me out of the lot for no reason. You looked at me like I was a fucking bot. dumb when I was at your conference. Only one man has the salt to talk about the things that are happening right now in the world, Mark Pastio, and it is me. But it's your association with Alex Jones is what keeps you away from me. So when I send you an email and I say, let's talk, you don't ignore me, boy, and act like you're above me, because I've never been a Satanist. And there is a history of my people being spiritual. There is a bloodline documented fact, Jack, of Sufis, even if you hate them too, and others being spiritual. And I thought I can connect with your soul as opposed to 9/11 Truther taking you to an Afghan restaurant in downtown Philly. I know how you felt at that place. I know how expensive it was. And the truth is, bro, those people are worthless at that restaurant and these refugees because they don't care about this movement. Bro, I'm the only man amongst those peoples. And I really assumed the worst the whole time I interacted with you, that you people saw me as some sort of monkey baboon. And then, Mark, I get messages from people that say, Alex, you have mental illness, you look Italiano, or this or that, the other. Or in the past, Hamid says, you look Palestinian. And he's Afghan. And he says, bro, I thought you were Palestinian. Now, that was when I was 16 years old in 1996 when he said that. Okay, and I still remember that. It's now 2024. You think I've forgotten a Middle Eastern person saying to me, you look this? And I've had an Afghan woman say, I look like a child immigrant. Okay, racist white people haven't even kicked that low. So whatever beef you guys have with Afghans, immigrants, bro, I get it. But you've got to leave that out in the same way that you don't want all white people being called Nazis. This rant, guys, was for all of you. Okay? Great. Now let's move on. So this is a book that I recommend. You should already know about thriftbooks.com. You should never be saying, oh, I won't go to Amazon. You should never be so mind-fucked that when you think books, you go Amazon or Pals if you're in Portland. No. Unless there's something nefarious that you need to tell me about thrift books, your go-to is eBay and thrift books or ETSY, which I have little experience with. And if you are a long-term viewer of Alex Ansary and you have a memory and you don't just remember solar flares and wars and homeless commentary, well, that's actually what we're getting to. I gave Portland solutions, but nobody listened. Let's talk about it. Let's continue to be abstract. So we're going to rate this free flow Alex with very little news, minimal rage, just a general free flow, but not quite monotone. Okay. And keep this going for multiple hours today. We need more than a hero. We need the archangels and blessings of the Almighty Creator. We can do nothing without the Creator. All right, so we're going to go back and forth here. We're going to go back and forth. I'm going to upgrade my glasses here. I do not spend mega bucks on anything. Things are cheaper than ever before. If you have a little bit of taste and style and common sense, you can take $5,000 and travel aspects of the world and live well and report on a lot of things. You have not seen me do that. But if somebody of financial means, and I'll go get a passport tomorrow, somebody of financial means wants to help me see the world and interview people of different cultures, what better man is there to appreciate the different aspects of this world and this earth? What other man out there wants to see so many beautiful aspects of various religions and cultures without demonizing all of them? Just look, I attribute the negative experiences that I'm having now here with immigrants to the environment, not their religion, just so we're on the same page. However, the same type of judgment that I get against conspiracies or anyone seen as conspiracy is pretty dominant in immigrant folks outside of this region, in Portland also, in Seattle. And let me just clarify something for you. Like, there's aspects of the Great Replacement theory that are real, but affect more than white people, affect people like me along with you, acting like I'm with the African migrants because I have darker skin, because I'm pushing back against white supremacy. I'm not trying to be insulting. It's not accurate. Okay. I'm trying to be nice today. Well, Alex's nice factor. How much of it? But see, when you play nice guy, people walk on you and they kick you when you're down, especially when you're spiritual. When I try to go deep into the spiritual, things that are not specified happen on the background to try to shake my confidence when I open up my heart space. And it's synchronized. I had a long conversation with Gypsy Fox. For some reason, the file doesn't exist anymore, or I didn't hit record. I'm not outside of, it's not outside the possibility that I can end up too relaxed, so to speak, and make a mistake and not hit record, or I can talk with Aaron for a long time and my hard drive could be full and we talk for 3 hours about some amazing stuff, and for whatever reason it doesn't go out. But then I also wonder, was that God stopping the recording from going out because it was too deep, or was it them? Let me just continue. I don't necessarily see UFOs, but I pick up on dart-like energy in the clouds. And then I've seen videos recently of UFO. Yeah. My goal was to keep in a progressive way talking about new topics in this video. But I'm doing a free flow, guys, without any notes. I need a pin, though, to at least start keeping track as I go along as to what I'm talking about. Okay? Yeah. It's time for me to get a pimping pin. Okay? Maybe ETSY, some sort of like a pin. And I'll tell you what, when I go out in a suit, the balding hair, I don't think people are paying attention to. They're looking at the top. They're really looking at regular. Where are you going? Who are you? It's the glow. It's the confidence. It's the assuredness. And I've done a 180 vibrationally. Folks, when I migrated from one state to another and one part of the state to another and traveled around with a backpack or a car, limited income, and then got rid of a car and traveled, and then, went stayed with one friend, then went stayed with another and had a job and then got fired. Like, a lot of that stuff was traumatic to me that you didn't see behind the scenes. Also, there's a place that did deny me for work. I'll just tell you the name of it. It's Hippie Chicks something in Bagosa. Basically, their branding was they're hippie chicks, but it's not a hippie chick who owns it. It's like an angry Latina lady. It's crazy, man. The type of okay, so I have lots of ideas for books and essays, just so you know. And I said that I will drop Solar Wars 2025 to $9.95 if you request it, but no one's really, I'm not going to really push it. I just recommend that you get examples of my words in writing so that you can talk to people in the street, go, this guy has this, but he's not just a YouTuber who just makes shit up. There's some science behind at least some of what he says, and I feel it too. And that's what I'm saying. I feel the solar flares, and sometimes I get contacted by others who feel the solar flares and note the synchronicities. When I paint, I felt really intense energy at the moment that I sat down. And I realize that black is not necessarily a color that I want to use, but I'm not going to necessarily label it negative. So I have green and purple. I have green and purple. And canvas. Purple, green, canvas. I guess I'm trying to relive my childhood show and tell days. You'll have to excuse me. I got punched too many times as a kid. Anyway, I haven't been to the gym for the bench press in a few weeks. Now that the eclipse energy is passing, I did avoid it because I'm assuming that there's heightened level of psychotic behavior and demons at the gym, because when you work out, you expel demons. So, been doing more of these. I'll do like 10 to 15 sets. One day I did up to 20 sets of push-ups, which is nothing if you're in jail and you just are doing nothing. I'm trying to get back into walking 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and sometimes around eclipse season, walks will be up to 2 hours. And there'll be like this yearning to go and walk in aspects of my neighborhood that I don't normally walk in. And in doing so, I stepped in concrete. Some people might laugh at that. It's not funny. I'm not in Portland or a nice part of Arizona or Seattle. I'm in the area that's an urban apocalypse, basically, zombie apocalypse. And have you seen Empty Spaces by Pink Floyd by chance? If you watch my channel, you have. I live amongst empty spaces, where it's a mix of empty space reality. Dun-dun-dun. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch Empty Spaces on YouTube. Dun-dun-dun. And the baby transforms into a green monster and hits the guy over the head with a baseball bat, and his brains splatter. Not to sound graphic, but the Pink Floyd wall animation is probably one of the greatest masterpieces of Western civilization, and it touched me very deeply and profoundly in the late 90s. Problem was, the G-Man came in at that same time. Love it how he took his picture off LinkedIn. Love that G-Man. Love that Joker. G-Man came in. Aaron, holla. It was interesting how he came in right at that time to lead me towards darkness and in my Second Amendment. And if my Second Amendment wouldn't be ended, my life path would be totally different. And my employment reality would be totally different. I would have been able to work up in the food industry without that felony charge. Yes, I'm the person that made, but see, he worked very hard to make sure that I made that decision. For Aaron to defend him and to defend the genocide in Israel exposes the vast majority of the humans that made a beeline for my energy field in Portland. Gunner, Angel Soli, the other obese woman who lives in the Southeast, who's now been zapped away from my Facebook page as of the last 5 weeks. Not a well woman herself. Remember that gay male porno that I found in her closet? Real wacky stuff. I mean, if you want it hardcore, just ask for it. But seriously, not that I'm the one to offer it, but that stuff's just nasty. And I don't like lesbian adult content. It's just gross. Lesbian adult content is gross. I don't know why men like that. I think a lot of men are screwy. So understand, women need to embrace me dissing on the mass of men and women. They're garbage humans. They're garbage souls, and they're why we're in this mess. We are the alien invasion. It is shining through us. The hybrids live amongst us. You will know them by their callousness to the victims of war. Again, you will know them through their callousness to the victims of war. Again, class, you will know them through their callousness to the victims of war. Are you a hybrid? Are you callous to the victims of war? Do you feel nothing when I share my story? Are you one of them? Prove it. Now, I am going to possibly, but no promises, send someone in an upcoming birthday a gift that will be painted. There will be no Hallmark cards. I will discover the Hallmark conspiracy. It's coming, folks. I'm just going to Google Hallmark conspiracy. And if I don't find one, folks, I'll just make one up. I'm kidding, folks. Don't quote me. Paintbrushes. I'm trying to connect with my broken childhood. And I'm trying to connect with that horrible year of 2001 and 2022. Or what year was it? When I went back to school. What year was it? 2002 and 1. I'm going to take Art 101 and learn to draw. I end up in Architecture 101. Architecture 101 is not Art 101, folks. Architecture 101 is, now we're going to look at this Pantheon building. Ansary, we need you to write a lecture on the Pantheon architecture of Europe. European supremacy. European supremacy. So where do I go? I go across from where I was working at the time, which is the bank building across from the Benson. I worked at the Benson. Okay, through Gunner, I met a guy named Finian who worked valet, and he got fired by Gladney, a guy that was the GM of the 4-star hotel that the presidents used to stay in. Used to be the big shot place in Portland called the Benson. I think it's been replaced by the Hilton and maybe some other like California hotels now, but that was the spot. Before 9/11 and planes hitting buildings, that was the spot for Secret Service. The Benson Hotel, where I worked at. Folks, that doesn't mean I'm Secret Service for you nutters. That means I bust tables at a nice-ass restaurant. And I'm telling you, they were kind to a young Alex Ansary in Portland, Oregon in 2002. I showed up on Tom Moore, who was my boss, who later went to work for Holiday Inn. What a small world. Who later went to work for Holiday Inn at the airport. Todd Moore, Moore, nice guy. Lifted a little bit, had a similar demeanor to other food and beverage managers that I knew. So he had a charisma to him, but what was his demon, what got him fired from the Benson? What's your first suspicion? And we're not talking drugs. You know, I do for you, you do for me. Yeah, this behavior, unfortunately, in lustful Portland tends to take over the most disciplined of men. Not to bash those men. I am a man amongst men, I'll tell you. And I also have suffered from or experienced and been blessed with very high libido when it's certain aspects of the solar cycle and driving through certain streets or areas. So literally around 50th and Powell, boing! Not very far from there, you have Foster Fitness. Whoa, 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 high testosterone. So there's certain places, are you following me, amen, if you're there? There's certain places in the Portland area in which there is a earth energy that's shooting upwards. Okay, so certain areas in which you have fault lines, I'm in one now, you'll be walking one day and you'll just be feeling, I'm not necessarily feeling that sexual prana like I did in Portland, I'm feeling that cosmic, even though I feel like I'm in an urban hell. Spirit is guiding me to go on walks in my community to vacant lots where homes are no longer there. There used to be like a MAGA house, like, you know, MAGA, signs and everything. The house is gone, the signs are gone, have no idea what happened. And in its place is like the return to nature. Nothing's there. No nails, nothing. Just some concrete, you know, here and there, and that's it. You know, some shed. It's just an abandoned lot with like a tree that says, touch me. A tree is literally screaming out, saying, touch me. Please, a human hasn't touched me in a long time. I'm so afraid of what's happening here. And I'm trying to cry. That tree is living through empty spaces. That music video. I don't have it downloaded, or do I? Yes, I do.
search of more and more applause.
So one of the things that I also did recently is I reactivated my Facebook page, and the first thing that I saw was a woman that lived in Vegas, and basically communicated with her that, don't know her, but we're Facebook contacts. Facebook contacts. It's like I accidentally hit that time, or it just made a sound on its own. I don't know. Anyway, I got this stick here. Kind of a cool stick. She has been given the option as a Facebook friend to hang out with me, and women should be mature enough to know that when I contact them, I am not contacting them solely for, things that a man might typically contact a woman for. It doesn't mean that I'm opposed to that and that I don't do that. And I really even though I'm open regarding sexuality in a real setting, I'm not into the super sexualized songs. Do the Humpty Dump, You and Me, Baby, and Nothing But Mammals, so let's do it like they do it on the Discovery Channel, and even less. Promoting that to young children that are like 3 walking down the street. And I went to a local Saturday market where they were talking about basically ejaculation, like the pleasure of sex. And it was done in like a folk song way. I love it when you, and there's little kids walking around. And so again, I think that's great. There's aspects of Black America that's coming up, but there's some nastiness that some of them are being allowed to throw around that's being seen as a normal part of Black culture or something, like vulgarity. No. I'm a big fan of the 70s and 80s. I love Black music, for those that haven't heard me say that, from the 70s and 80s and the 90s. Now, once we go into the 2000s, I'm sorry. It's not racism to say that you whites, Latinos, Afghans, whatever, whites, blacks, Asians, your modern music is asinine after 1994. That 528 hertz stuff, it's okay, but really it's about the old school music on your MP3 player that you play through a stereo sound system with the occasional. But of course, 528 the one is probably gone right now and probably can't handle this info. Probably is not listening to how this is spiritual, and electronic sounds coming through a cybernetic machine is not spiritual. You understand? So many people are going to be duped by these machines thinking they're Christians when the lover machines come out. Ooh, we're going to love you with the frequencies. Wah, 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 wah. Now, there are allegations that there are magnetic healing centers around the planet. Okay, there's a couple, you may have seen, some of my tabs with regards to them. They're all across the nation. Let me just look and see what the name of the company is. This is not an advertisement, but let me just go ahead and look at my tabs real quick. There's a company out there that does some sort of magnetic healing. And so, healing music that's calibrated can be healing, but there is some technology out there. Anyways, you can look up magnetic healing on the internet. And then I went to a used bookstore yesterday and thought about buying more books, but I thought, no more books, Alex, till you read the ones that you got. But it gives me ideas for books also that I want to write. There was like a book on crystals. It was about $5. I took note of that. There was another book on magnetic healing that talked about magnetic fields and healing yourself from illnesses. I've been believing that for a long time, and these spirits can cause illnesses. And so for people that have some sort of an illness, maybe where you can't move your arm, maybe like there's something going on with your face, the very first thing you should be looking at is there some sort of a spiritual sickness or any karmic activity that led to a breach in the human magnetic field that led to this condition. And that's the first thing that I would ask, if that person has a history of being like a Superman. And if someone isn't going to be asking those questions about how someone who is a Superman, ends up with a debilitating illness. This happens to so many of our friends and family. And they just act like it's normal or something, just part of life. Not always. There's nothing that you have to gain from a powerlessness perspective that you can't do something about your illness by maybe becoming a spiritual being of light. It's amazing how many people involve themselves in the New Age movement that ain't shit in 2024. Talking about the light, you know who you are, things of this nature. But let me tell you, the 80s and 90s were interesting when you went down to the local fair and you got on one of those UFO rides, right? When the tweaker was in there listening to like the AC/DC, and you got in there with your mom and you got up there with your friend and you got up there in one of those UFO rides and they start spinning it up, and then like the seats go up in the back and like your face goes up and you're like, whoa, and it's like More Than a Feeling from Boston or some sort of nostalgic song. I remember my mom and I drove in that crappy beater from Aurora all the way to Canby on 99E. You stalkers can trace the route now on Google Maps. 99E, that's right, Aurora. That's right, Aurora, all the way to Canby. Total hickish. Canby always struck me as satanic, right? And I think I'm not the only one on that one. Canby, they got some issues. It's that rapey energy of the earth. Come on, folks, this is our land now. The Indians are gone. We're going to have a party. Shit's going to happen in this poltergeist type energy. You're going to have spirits coming around like the old man in the top hat going, let me in, as you rape the earth and you frack and you destroy the trees. And that tree over there is scared. It's scared. And I put my hand on going there. But first, ask if you can touch it. It's like a woman. Can I touch you first? Not that I asked the women locally that. And when I was driving the other day going, hey, baby, I'm coming to see you. I'm talking to like a coffee shop, not a woman. So I talk in a way that's comical, that's unorthodox, that will cause people to unsubscribe. And when I did the bare chest thing, we had a total of 7 unsubs in that period. It's like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. But you put me next to a white woman with her titties out, and we're talking like millions of dollars. And that's what I'm talking about, folks. You need to be neutral energetically. When you look at nudity of a certain man, an ethnicity, and nudity of a certain woman and ethnicity. Sure, you're going to be sexually drawn to one, but you should have a level of neutrality, as if we're in a jail cell and we're being booked in, because we are in the planetary prison. And a lot of us without clothing don't look the hottest. And some of us look better than what people assume, also at the same time without clothing. It's interesting. But the point is, you without your clothing and your fitness status is not the real you. It's the spirit. And this world right now is obsessed with flesh consciousness, with titty size, with ass size. Lots of black people now are obsessed with red hair. Did you know that? Or that might just be a local sign of possession. I noticed that. I know it's a fad. I noticed that with unstable white women in Portland. The blue hair, the green hair. Always when you see the hair dye, that's 99% a sign of mental instability. A sign that they're following other trends, that they don't view themselves as naturally sexy, right? There's nothing like seeing somebody criticize white supremacy and racism who will then dye their hair something different to appease white people, including blonde or wearing blonde wigs. That's asinine. And so we have a society in which people will put makeup on to make themselves look whiter. This is not anti-white. To talk about how there are people in our world that are influenced to have low self-esteem to try to be something other than what they are. That's what we're discussing. In 2024, you need to be mature enough to understand that I'm giving you a university level of education without even trying. Now, if I was to try and build PowerPoints and actually teach you as if you were a serious student and build a real university and charge $50 a head for certain sessions and even more for ongoing lectures, I will buy books on becoming a better teacher and improve my speaking and production style if the students will show up. We would be talking advanced stuff, which you already heard me talk about the sun and going beyond wars and using science. Okay? So those of you that look down upon me, that have found me, you don't realize that this other stuff, some of you are really low intelligent for not realizing this other stuff that I've talked about, the book on the sun, is way more relevant than the off-grid stuff that attracted stalkers. You should be developing now a deeper interest in these other topics, understanding the Russian attacks on the grid, regardless of your politics. You could be a Trump person if you said for years that Trump's not with Russia. You should have no sensitivity when people like me and others talk about Russia and China hacking the grid, and they need to get prepared. But that's what's going on. We are right now, folks, in such a deep zombie trance state that if you talk about being prepared with food and water, and if you try to talk to people and get advice on what's the right battery bank to buy for solar panels, nothing but a derpy derp comes out. A derpy derp derp. I'm not planning to continue to talk to Portland after I'm done turning in episodes beyond this quarter. Okay? Unless one of you says, Alex, you should keep doing it for the sake of doing it, and more than a few of you. I didn't say I'd stop making videos. I'm talking about specifically turning in videos to Access TV. I want to do that, but if only unstable people are going to find me, and if they're not going to let me know that they're watching from Portland, like YouTube is one thing, I get it, but I'm not yet getting acknowledged. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about Xfinity in Portland, not YouTube. I'm talking about terrestrial television that's on the TV set for those that are really slower than average. Okay, you cannot abandon traditional FM, AM just because we're on the internet. We are shadow banned up the wazoo on the internet. I have to be on the radio. Whoa, on the radio. It has to happen, guys. So I'm going to be replacing black with purple or violet. And I first came to hear about the violet flame in the Aquarian Foundation. And I left the Aquarian Foundation when I found Clyde Lewis. And I found conspiracy theory. And I started doing my show. They freaked me out when they started praying for the UN. But I don't at present believe all the conspiracy theories about the UN. And I don't think that it's awesome to act like you're a badass. I did it once on Facebook. To like show like blue helmets with bullets through it. If you want to act like a badass, expose the people robbing your country. Reposting memes of blue helmets with bullets in it looks pretty suspicious. And what if there are some blue helmets then that are not Satanists? You know what I mean? That have actually done certain things. But you're talking to a guy who was obsessed with making a documentary for years about UN peacekeeping troopers being human traffickers, being bad guys. And them being people that are covering it up. This is grass green. Let's see how the tones look on here. The color correction on this video is not perfect. We are not recording with studio quality lighting. You know that. There could be real improvement on this. And I'm using minimal lighting to prevent oversaturation at this time. And then we don't have sun right now. So I'm all about adding a group for, say, the 5 or 10 people that want to communicate with me. But I don't talk to people until they hang around for a few months and show that they have an attention span and that they're not going to throw me away. I am not interested with the Alex Ansary platform in being all things to all people. I believe on the Alex Ansary platform that I should talk about my life, my background, although less now after the eclipse. But I'm talking about there was a lot shared with you that are total strangers about my life. And that was done to give you an additional understanding of some of my life experience. And a lot of you get a feeling grade from me personally on showing empathy. However, comments will be open once I get a volunteer who is responsible and trustworthy to be a moderator. The truth is, the vast majority of YouTubers that I know and have seen, from Eli Ritchie and others, not only have one moderator, but 2 to 3. There are people out there that live on YouTube all day long, and they will volunteer that are trustworthy. None of you have developed that relationship with me the way that some of Eli Ritchie's audience members developed one with him, if you're following my drift. So Eli Ritchie can go live and have multiple moderators keep out the really hateful people, because live streams attract parasites, basically. But some of you that are spiritual, that's why I'm saying I want to color code my content. So for those of you that can't handle, I guess, the yelling because you are female and male and you grew up in abusive households with control freak mothers and fathers, and you don't need me shouting at you. Okay, but aspects of society do. So do I always need to tell you in advance when there's going to be shouting? For now, I'm just going to use like my best discretion. But no, don't think that me just consuming cannabis just takes away my angst. We don't ever want to be consuming a substance that takes away that. This is why I don't hang out with mainstream stoners, and they don't like me. They'll be like, bro, you're thinking too much. Take more drugs. Take more of this. Smoke more of this. And I'm like, bro, I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling awake, sensitive to energies. I'm feeling psychic. I feel like I know a lot or what I need to know. I don't feel that the goal of this consumption, and this is another here, that is a lower grade, and I'll cut the quality stuff with this lower grade stuff to stretch out the length of time that I have my cartridge. And I'm switching from sativa to indica to the 2-1, not the 1-1. But the 1-1 is good. Okay, and what I have not had in many years, maybe 10, is quality butter, where you ingest it and you have that deep high. What would be awesome is to travel somewhere. If 5 or more people in the Portland area wanted to bring me there, I will come. But one at present is not enough. I will need to hear from multiple people, and it would be good for me to see certain people that I've talked about in the past, if they would have me, and if they're not angry with me. I would come. I would fly in, and I would also maybe raise some funds for travel for car storage. Okay, and we are back after a 15-minute break. Again, this is going to be a long-form, free-flow podcast. It's going to be just like a regular podcast, only, guys, only. I am permitting myself today to be on video. Sometimes I'll be wearing a jacket. Sometimes I will be wearing nothing for the OnlyFans account. Sometimes I will be wearing a t-shirt. Sometimes I will be in the lotus position in the forest. Sometimes I look like I'm ready to give an 8-hour speech at Brave New Books in Austin, Texas, or Seattle, Washington, or Portland, Oregon. I'm willing to travel to these places. Now, I know 2 people in Portland with potential housing options, okay, but 2 is not enough, okay? There needs to be 5+ housing options, plus locations for emergency hotels in the event that I do not get along in person with the people. People are nicer on the internet. It's when you meet people in the real world that you see the real personality. Okay, the shouting at you, the talking down to you. I'm in control. I have the answers. I. It's like, no, you don't. Or you would already be doing a show. Enough with the alpha maleness. The vast majority of men have that, or they're super feminized. They're like, don't hurt me. No, come on, bro, let's box. Don't hurt me. Like, seriously, weren't you like training for war? I can't fight. I wasn't in the military and I can strike. What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal? Everybody who was ever involved in the armed forces should be able to do some sparring with me voluntarily, right? Just at least get out your angst. And if you've got the money, honey, and the government's paying for it, well, that's a whole other operation. But my heart has been open for multiple years for people that have joined the system, including my dad, that have gone overseas to tell me that I've done the right thing by exposing these wars. And there is unfortunately, a dark cloud over people, though, that are willing to go over there. And there is almost never a chance that people really have the full open-hearted, I will accept you and your racial trauma. It's because of that experience of going overseas. And I do believe there's an entity attachment that occurs when you go overseas, even if you didn't deal with killing yourself, by holding hands basically with the unit and then looking the other way when people are killed or raped or tortured. That it creates kind of like a cursed energy. And so, of course, these people are going to want healing if they're spiritual. But you're going to have to do that through some sort of repent-like behavior right? Of trying to like reparation energy. It's not just black people in which there needs to be healing. Okay. Nor do I believe in the official solution and reparations. I don't believe in that. I believe that type of thing I don't necessarily believe in you have money, you don't have money. I believe that there should be positive media exposure that talks about the essence of the soul amongst us all. Let me just keep talking. So I went to Starbucks the other night, all pumped up on solar flares. Solar flares. So instead of just drink, I megaphoned last night. And I went back to the hotel, but something told me, man, there's cameras up the wazoo. They know you. Cool off on this one. And I'll tell you, the solar flares got me so hot, my brain, although I don't entertain the thought, but, you know, if I was a bad boy, it would not be difficult to teach them a lesson. If this was the 1970s and 80s and I had no morality and I was really pissed, there would be no way they would be able to stop me from teaching them a lesson. Do you understand what I'm saying? If that was the type of person that I was. To walk in and do a Tonya Harding, so to speak, on Fat Man. I like to say, you know, rude things to people that don't like the room. And I just read the reviews and I realize this isn't about racism. This is about a disrespect for everybody that walks through here, this region. People fly in from all over. They want to stay at a budget hotel and they walk into hell on earth. And because there is a sizable black and Latino population in this pocket of the Metroplex, there is just this general attitude. And white folks understand you're not being attacked, but you need to also hear something else. White folks travel a great distance to work in a primarily black and brown area, whereas primarily the people here aren't wanted for work. So there I said it. You need to develop the maturity to understand that criticism of aspects of white supremacy is not being anti-white. I'm pro-white people having their jobs, but we need to have a more decent... Honestly, a lot of you aren't even on my side no matter what I say or what I do for you people, period. It doesn't matter. I'm just talking now. We need to fix this. We need to fix this. And I talked with a certain person in Portland. We need to fix this. He's like, you can't fix nothing. I just want to play video games and paint and play punk rock. Okay, you didn't say video games. But I've got friends, folks, that play video games. I had a friend once by the name of Oregon Cop Watcher on YouTube. His name's Mike Smith. And when I went to get food with his girlfriend, who he met from me, right? Who he met from me. Here we go. I don't even remember what the disagreement was, but literally in seconds, and it was in 2014, so it was during SOAR Maximum then, he's like, get out of my house. Now, at the very minimum, Gunner Standard could bring that up, that he's friends with a douchebag. And he hooked him up in a way that he shouldn't have hooked him up. So Gunner Standard is not a good guy. It's one thing to unconsciously be born with a skinhead look because you're white and bald. I want to blame you for that. But if you like Stefan Molyneux and you help people of certain ethnicities where you trash and you abandon your friend Alex and you're not forthright about it and you never even bothered to listen to his content, yet you saw something in him enough to poison him. See, folks, that should be suspicious enough that his only agenda with me was to get me on drugs. This was starting to actually freeze. That exposes Aaron that would defend him. There's all these like vampire fly type entity parasites in human form that somehow, for those that didn't know this, became friends with each other through me. And it's like, how did this happen? How is it that I know you're not my friends anymore, but yet after I was homeless, you hooked up with each other and then you talked lying smack about me behind my back. Gunner was lying to Aaron saying he cared about me and shit. He fucked with this dude's head. Aaron is under some sort of like mind control spell. Not only Matt Walsh is great, Ben Shapiro, Russia's great. You know, Mike Smith is still great, even though Mike Smith will call it the IDF. Like, they're hypocrites up the wazoo. And yes, the Alex Ansary glossary of terms includes anti-Themism, up the wazoo, the network, which is describe people possessed by aliens that hate people like me when I share my story, right? We have a lot of people possessed by anti-Themism in the audience and coast to coast. There's no rational reason why I would go on a station of 600, over 600 stations. If you're being invaded by the immigrants, understand, where are they? They're in certain pockets of the U.S. is what it is. You go to certain casinos like I did and you hear me going, where's the invasion? I'm in then a different community where there is no brown. There's just black and white. So while people scream invasion, not everywhere. Pockets of the U.S. Pockets of the U.S. there's a higher than average concentration. But when you scream invasion, 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 and you're not actually being invaded by the military, what are you doing? You are crying wolf. And so by crying wolf, and I said this for years, saying that it's an invasion when it's not an actual invasion, I said this for years, are you helping the cause to expose the real invasion that's coming with China and Russia, or are you working against it? And do you know the truth, or are you full of shit? See? These are things that you need to come to an understanding of. So, okay, anyway. I'm going to send my mother a homemade card in the future, and others, if I send them a card, a homemade card. Don't expect to hear from Bruce. See, Bruce and Phil and people like that, my dad, they can't handle intelligence. Amen, I'm not sure. He's 50-50. Depends on what stage of the Gemini mood swing, personality shift he's got going on. Are you a good witch or a light witch this year? Do you care about me this year, or are you in La La Land? You know, it's like here today, gone tomorrow, just like the old days. Maybe I'll be there for you. Maybe I won't. It just depends on my mood. I'm so important. So to him and others, they may receive like a canvas art gift and a symbol. And there is power in making a protective symbol that you don't put on the internet. I have 2 other symbols in addition to this. I'm going to be making like up to 8 or 9 symbols, and I'm looking on the internet for other symbol ideas. And maybe I'll just create my own symbol. But a lot of symbols have been used by Illuminati agencies and organizations. It does not then automatically make those symbols, those solar symbols that predate the swastika, the ancient 8-spoke sun wheel, which is also connected to the 8 noble truths of Buddhism, which I can remember reciting while living on the bare bones with nothing, not even $50 to my name, with not even solar panels or power. This is like literally bubbling right now. Look at this. It's like a spring. So I'm going to give you another analogy. Like sometimes it's about speaking in parables rather than speaking in a literal sense. So if I am engaged in truthing and I'm worrying about being hexed or whatever, like that's a rational concern because I'm exposing evil. However, if I choose to voluntarily put more than a few of these in my body, something's going to happen that isn't positive. These were bought local, or these were shipped in. What I'm saying is these aren't Walmart habaneros. Okay, they came from somewhere, wherever they were grown. And when you eat more natural peppers, jalapenos, they're going to be spicier than Walmart. You understand what I'm saying? And so I was basically like having explosive, you know what, in the restroom. And I'll break out in prayer when I feel like I'm dying. And I was feeling like I was dying for a few minutes. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, is it a hex or is it the habanero? Numbnuts, what do you think? What'd you just eat? It's a habanero. But it felt so good as my body was expelling. Like, talk about a natural colon cleanse, for those that don't know. And it fights cancer, right? The properties that are in this. And you can make a pretty awesome sauce, which looks like this, if I can find it. Okay, now this comes from Mexico. Don't hate. Okay? Look at that. Well, that is what we're talking about. That is medicine. Now, ghost pepper is nice, but that is hot. 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 But the peppers are even hotter. So if I choose to eat that, it's not your fault. If you have a negative thought about anything that I've said or said a negative message or text, it's not your fault. It's my fault. Now, I want you to take this lesson and apply it to your own life. If you are feeling ill right now during the time of the eclipse, when I said people are going to be feeling ill and are going to be taken over, and some people will become murderous, then you need to engage in a spiritual practice and not blame the pastor or the shaman or the man that can see. Because you know in your heart that I was right about the false flag in Russia before it happened. Now, I am going to take the Coast to Coast interview and put it up there. I don't recall signing a contract this time around to not do that. So they may have changed their policies. And I will then also include the 2019 interview. So it's important that you understand that even though I talked faster and I was more analytical because of my urban environment, and before I was doing the more off-grid, no showers, lots of cannabis, very relaxed, not as relaxed this time around. There was 5,000 hits to OTBTV.net, which is Honest Lots Legs, by the way. I need to build a new website, FYI. I'm told WordPress is shit. Anyway, 5,000 with 1 to 2 emails afterwards with one person on the East Coast who is a prominent bloodline family name interviewing me, wanting to interview me. And then I replied to him, sent him my ebook, and that's the last I heard from him. But his last name was a name of prominence and wealth and influence. And so he exchanges emails with me. I'm like, sure, I'm down to talk to you. Here's the book. I think the book probably wasn't impressive enough to them. And it's sad the guy didn't hang around to follow my work. Maybe he saw the slander. Who knows what it was. But intuitively, I knew that forces were working against me and worked against me directly after that interview. Okay, to put out a fake image of me to the Coast to Coast audience so nobody would help me in my attempts to meet other solar researchers, not only in the four corners of Colorado, but New Mexico and other places. When I went on Coast to Coast, I updated my bio to be one specific to the one that you see now, but a little bit less. But it was more of a focus on wanting... it was way less of a conspiratorial focus and one that was very focused on finding other researchers to help me or guide me or work with me or mentor me, and for me to mentor them with regards to the solar sciences. Now, these people, folks, are getting paid big-time salaries, and I don't believe that AI is interfering with them seeing my PDFs. When I send them a PDF with all the information in it, and I also give some personal information saying that I'm a relative of Tamim, you know, who knows if AI saw that and decided to, but they did not send me any positive energy for worrying about the Red Dawn scenario, human trafficking of women, and saying that refugees should assert themselves. I'm not saying commit terrorism, all right, or protest, but there's many weak refugees that I've met that don't want to talk about anything, including the future. And so their idea of refugees and black people a lot in white media, conspiracy theory media, is white people constantly being attacked, constantly being insulted, constantly being invaded. And there's plenty of colored people and non-white people that are doing no such thing in America. They're not engaged in anti-white racism. They're not trying to take your job. They may be trying to get a job. And if there's like a feud over limited jobs, that's economic collapse. That's not necessarily invasion. So what we have right now is people's lives being destroyed around the world by these, whether you like to hear this or not, corporations and globalization. They're trying to escape, and we in the West are being conditioned to see them as non-humans. And I'm telling you, this is all a setup for the day in which we're the refugees. They built the fence for us. Ron Paul told you this a long time ago. Now Ron Paul promotes Trump, I think, doesn't he? But doesn't tell you that anymore. So many people back in the day changed their tune, but Ansary did not. You can look at old school Alex Ansary, and I'm just more mature, better looking in some cases, higher strength, higher libido, higher intellect. I think that I'm a better Alex Ansary. You people that want the old Alex Ansary that fucked around, drank around, did that, flipped around, and basically let you walk on him is the one that I think you like more. The money was there for the old Alex Ansary. The people inviting Alex Ansary to hang out with her. Now the assertive one who basically bears his chest in a literal sense and emotional sense, literally like clears the room like a nasty fart. But it's not a fart, is it? People may hallucinate it's a fart. Oh my God, he farted. Man, that guy smells. But it's not. I smell fine. I use lavender soap, that's $5. I use expensive soap, and I use expensive shampoo. I don't use shit. So I don't smell, actually, but I don't use cologne. What it is I have a level of magnetism that's shooting out from my energy field into the screen and into the grocery store. So it's not racism. When I go into, the health food store and that guy that I feel with the bald head who's been in the joint, because I can telepathically pick up on that judgment of me, he's looking at me. It could be race and energy. And really, they could be scrutinizing your race when they're not metaphysical, because it's the energy through your heart, from your heart, that's jolting them. So they could be a black person looking at you as a white person, treating you with angst. You might be, that's racism. But really, it was the energy field of your heart that hit the demons attached to that person's back. You can also reverse the races and have a different scenario and custom tailor it for your situation. But to ignore the reality of racist aliens is ridiculous. You're a damn fool. You don't know anything about the Bible. You don't know anything about the Quran. You don't know a jack shit even about the Old Testament and Yahweh for that matter. If you don't know about Old Testament gods that are racist, that killed people, that's what the Old Testaments have done. This is why my content is not for followers of Old Testament deities. We need to have transparency between us. And I will not yield my power and authority to other people that are not content creators. They don't know jack shit about God. Okay, you want to show me you're going to expose something other than be nasty to me? Expose China. Expose human trafficking. No, you expose the explosion in the sky. No, you expose these things. I am doing everything that I need to do. I'm talking to millions of you. What I am doing is totally authorized by the Creator. Let's go back to today's megaphoning session. So I invoked Christ over and over and over again. And I went back to that hospital to where that angry black woman treated me with racism, because she's going to sit there and talk for 10 minutes to her black friends and giggle like, oh, yo, go, girl, with your ugly dyed red hair. Oh, I already criticized the white folk for their ugly red hair. Don't think you get a pass. Y'all got this issue of being gods and goddesses. I don't fucking think so. You don't get to be a god and goddess and say I'm a leper because I'm a balding, short, brown male with no real status or land or wealth. Fuck you. And that demon red-eyed horse from Denver Airport that you rode in on. So I'm going to be painting more canvases, and I'm going to send them out. My suggestion to you is to do whatever you want. I'm just going to give you advice. Whether you follow it or not, I don't care. I'm going to give advice, and people are going to hear my advice in 50 years and go, right on, bro. We're going to put your face up in our futuristic holographic theaters. They're going to play my voice right now in the future in 100 years in a hologram. It's going to be like Skeletor and Master of the Universe, but I'm going to be a good guy. I'm going to be a good archetype. 777 feet tall. 777 888 999. The other day, I was at the discount market, and what do I see in the pictures? I get this feeling. I get this itch. My dad, my crazy-ass dad, would talk about the itch to go gambling. I don't gamble. I get the itch to go look for a spiritual symbol. And without specifying it and following the advice, I'm not going to even put what's on my altar, on camera. But it's big. It's big. And the instant I did that, and the instant that I started to read The Magical Battle of Britain, seriously, up until page 77. 777. Yeah, there we go. There was a certain level of interference, and there was no way that they would know, except for alien mind control through their brains, that I was reading that document and sharing that document with several people on the side and making a post. So every time I invoke this symbol and the Magical Battle of Britain, or say Dion Fortune or show her face, certain emails and insults arrive, and it seems concentrated when this is brought up. Spiritual protection from entities is the trigger. I know what I'm dealing with, folks. I'm dealing with people that are possessed by alien beings with hatred for certain natural earth bloodlines that they have an agenda through their wars to eradicate off of the face of the earth by the year, according to me, 2100. According to me, there is an agenda by the year 2100 to eradicate certain Central, Southeast, and Middle Eastern heritages. This is why they are weaponizing migration. This is why they're shoving too many of them that are too mentally unstable into certain pockets or sectors of the USA. They are preparing for the shadow government ethno-state agenda. Everybody that's pro-ethno-state is pro-Illuminati New World Order, the reincarnation of Hitler deity. The Hitler consciousness is a spirit and is alive and well, and it does not like what I have done because Dion Fortune stood against him. But I am not doing at present what Dion Fortune did. I do not currently have a study group or a group of associates. I have welcomed it, but it is not currently in action. Nor am I saying that you should use this force against Trump or Biden, but rather the future enemies of America. We really need to focus on the knockout blow to the dark grid, like They Live. So if you like They Live and the moniker of putting on the glasses and seeing the subliminals, then we all should be in alignment here with invoking the archetype of protection over America against the Nazi consciousness, which is against us. It is not in support of us. The Nazi consciousness, the Thule Society frequency, is anti-American, and this is why Russia has used the internet to boost those thought forms and attitudes, because it's about destroying America by what? By what? By what? By design. Ding, ding. Okay? Now, prepare in what way you can, and I still would like to know and find out at some point how I might be able to connect my 300 watts to a battery. And there's a certain brand out there for $100 or $200 on Amazon. I think it's called All Power. If any of you think that that's a super bad decision, don't get All Power. Don't get it, dude. Don't get it. Please send me an email in the next 24 hours begging me to not get it and make that mistake, and tell me what else to get for $400. But I'm going to buy something for my solar panels in the coming week in case our money is destroyed. I plan to report on what's going to happen during the breakdown of society. So yeah, I'm just going to double down. I find it really, really important that society evolve and legalize marijuana at the federal level and embrace the new technologies and get away from the big pharma. People that are just going to criticize the vaccine and not criticize big pharma, people that are going to be anti-pot and migrate to areas where pot is legal, are the ultimate hypocrites. If you want to evolve beyond this cesspool shithole that is the earth, then you have to evolve beyond a hypocritical piece of garbage. Otherwise, you do not deserve to escape this place. Animals in nature are not enlightened. Animals in nature are not free of fear, are not free of trauma and homicidal tendencies. Animals do not necessarily follow God, but they are not necessarily removed from God. But just to simply be an animal by itself, right? We have the laughing shaitan or devil from the movie Legend with Tom Cruise, who says to his kidnapped girlfriend, all in black, I'm going to show that clip as he's dancing with her and show the metaphor of today's day and age. Because many women and men have been turned towards evil, and they think they can sit there and praise themselves and take on Satan. You could sit there and praise yourself and claim that you are followers of Christ while you deny that other people have vision. And so these people that are church leaders in my immediate community, they are not worthy to serve. I have contacted the heads of mosques and churches, not aware of any other religions locally. No Gnostics, no New Agers, but there are a whole plethora of fake psychics. And this is the thing. I do believe that we do have the power of divination and that it was given to us. But if you do it without God, if you're going away from God's influence and you're doing it with goblins and devils, you can deal with some levels of psychic information about other people, but you may be compromised. Okay, so not everybody that deals with divination or tarot or pendulums is actually dealing with the light. And then some, I believe, speaking out my wazoo, that some humans have enough natural soul voltage that they have that discernment that their magnetic field can be strong enough that they can be the dominant alpha in the energy situation. So we're doing it with Christ. They're not being manipulated by demons. They're not hearing literally the voice of God. This is the voice of God, but they're feeling impressions from the Almighty. Just as that black woman was having impressions about me when I was speaking about China in a free flow. She was getting in real time impressions that I was a prophet, which is not common. And then when I started to talk about, black on white violence and some of the attitudes locally, that spiritual connection between us was severed. She felt maybe offended and her energy floated away. So if you talk less when you come across spiritual people, whether it be you talking to me or me talking to somebody else who's there to truth me, my job in that situation is to say minimal and let them truth me. And she did let me record her, and she did give me other revelations as well, and say that I should be writing these books, and these books will be something that will finance me. She could have just made that up out of her wazoo. I don't see any significant sales from Solar Wars 2025. It's not a big deal. I'm not crying about it, but I see these books that I'm writing as later being significant. Solar Wars 2025 will be an historical item. Because there will be wars. There are wars now. So everything that was said, because I could have kept going with speculations in that. Could have been twice as big. I could have added in Leon's vision, and part of me says I should add in Leon's vision with China as an addendum. But his wishes really was to be removed from it because he doesn't have the gusto. I'm not lying or wrong when I say that he has self-serving interests and just makes people like him angry. When their BS and their crap, and I mean literal and figurative, their anus energy, if you will, butthole energy, butthole love energy, call it what you will, is called out. You cannot worship thy ass. You cannot worship that ass, especially when it's exit only, and serve the Creator. I don't believe that the ass fetish, be it homo or hetero, is compatible with Christ. And it actually is in the Bible too, the sodomy thing. So I believe that, but I don't believe in persecuting those people or harming those people. But the red carpet for homosexuals has been rolled out. They are superhumans in America. If you're black and gay and can't succeed in America, well, there's something else going on that's really wrong. Just to let you know. And it could be something as simple as being spiritual too. because this world is anti-spiritual. And it's very important that men of color understand how deeply dark this racist system is. Even if they have white lovers and they have homes, and they aren't really getting the brunt of how dark it is now, and other non-white heritages are. So a lot of black people are now soft. That doesn't mean that I want to see them harming Whitey with a black fist in the air. I want to see blacks, Afghans, Arabs, Latinos in some sort of scenario, whites, blacks, others, Asians, working together in a collaborative effort without race war theology. Now that right there is not satanic. We all should attain to be able to walk down the street with each other and not assume that somebody's carrying the virus. We should not assume that somebody's a right-wing Nazi. We should not assume that someone is a left-wing anti-white person because they have a certain color hair that is associated with leftism. Just keep in mind, I've seen plenty of white trash females with blue and green hair that are Trump supporters and right-wingers. Just keep that in mind for those of you that are obsessed with this blaming Portland for all the world's problems. It's complete Satanism. Your issue with white supremacy, systemic corruption, wars without end was going on completely separate from the existence of Portland, Oregon. Trump or anyone trying to just blame Portland, Oregon, and then Portland itself trying to blame Trump and right-wingers when it itself is dirty as fuck. The women, the men, they're all evil. 99% of Portlanders are evil. Now, if you happen to be a Portlander and you have a beef with me saying this, fuck you. And that demon horse you wrote in. Unsubscribe, eliminate your membership now. I don't like you, and I don't want you here, and you're fucking with my mood. You understand? Anybody that would try to tell me Portland is the shit without telling me how I can get my medicine, which is MDMA. Folks, it's all over Portland, Oregon. MDMA, ecstasy, the pure shit. It's all over that place. So if I can't get my medicine in a proper dose, right? That is what I need. I don't need to hear your arguments that I don't need that. I've done the studies. I know the science. I'm a fucking smart man. I've written books. Don't talk to me like I don't know my strains of this, that, and the other, and what medicine is. And that Portland is the spot, folks, on the earth for medicines. And so if I can't develop friendships with people that know the shamans of Portland, that's fucked. If you think Portland's an awesome place, and you live there and you don't presently know the shamans that have the medicine, oh, bro, you're not really having the good time you think you're having. Now, if you're drinking alcohol, and you can look down upon strip clubs all you want, but that alcohol shit brings in demons. There's nothing wrong with looking at a little nudity. It's that alcohol and getting drunk is the shit that freaks me out. Drunks are never my friends. I don't want drunks to call me. I don't want drunks to know me. I don't want them in the Substack. We need positive energy that's going to fight off the alienation consciousness of destruction of foreign lands. It has to happen. We have to have the purge of the gray reptilian sitting on the shoulder, having no empathy for someone's racial trauma, and yet being a part of the system of destruction. And not even having, like, oh my God, what was done was wrong to those people. And there's not a single person of the heritage of the land of the bombed that's in America but this dude. There's no evidence any of you is working hard to get my books in bookstores. No evidence there's no phone calls. I have a voicemail, and I want to hear from booksellers. I want to hear on my voicemail from powerful radio hosts that want to talk to me. I need a middleman who's good with the mic. If you're white and you're part of this culture, you should be better at speaking than me. It's you who should be writing Soul Wars 2025. Aren't I supposed to be the, I'm just look like a little refugee retard, motherfucker. Like those of you that still have this ethnocentric, I don't really care about what you've been through attitude, but I like your brain and shit from the sword flares. Like, you're so annoying, dude. You're like a little kid asking for candy and shit. I am a person that cannot have contact with the public until there is a multi-year screening process and seeing people hang around for a minimum of 1 year before I even exchange emails with them. So if you're in still the first few months or whatever, like, yeah, we have to return to the probation status because hardly any of you make it the first year or two and still hang around. The second I start going down certain levels and certain truths is the moment people throw me away. And it's like, folks, no, the abuse ends now. I don't need you. I can walk away tomorrow, but what do I do need? I need to constantly be truthing through the throat chakra. I don't need to truth you. I woke up this morning, I took my fucking medicine. Meaning, I woke up this morning And I drove by that closed-minded church that scolded me for just asking if they did acknowledge that white nationalism is not of the Lord in the Bible. So I'm in a black and brown community, but no one not white is in that church. That means they are voluntarily segregating by race. How the fuck do you think it feels to be mixed race in America and to have you people think I'm a lesser than for saying that I'm living a fucking nightmare? I want to go back to Oregon for a month. Be in the country, be in the mountains, be in this. But the connections have to be there. There has to be multiple people stepping forward. Okay? You think my uncle is stepping forward? Huh? Yeah, and I sent him a text message on my birthday last year, by the way. He never got back to me. So, I did give my uncle a chance to talk to me on my birthday in 2023. And he chose to ignore me. And I have to assume my mother played a role in that. My mother probably gossiped about me behind the scenes. And this is just what they do. The psychics were right. I have friends and family and fans that are jealous of me, yet I'm the homeless one with no retirement. What are you jealous of exactly? Because it ain't my finances. It ain't my dental state of being, not knowing what's going to happen here. It's not that. It's not my health insurance. Right? It's not the clothes that I wear. People laugh at me. These glasses fall apart all the time. They're cheap glasses from the mall. This little lens pops. So it's not that. I'm not wealthy. Women don't like me. So why would you be? It's the soul. Some of you don't even have a fucking soul, period. Gypsy's right about a lot of you. Me and Gypsy did a 3-hour session, and somehow the file's not there. Basically, a lot of you have a deep-seated hatred for me. Even if you like. And so some of you do like me, though, and I'm not going to let the hate of those in the audience stop me, which is why I came back to YouTube. So again, there is going to be special content, and if some of you, 5 of you, especially female, especially white, because that's my heritage on my mom's side. The Afghans have had a chance. The Muslims have had a chance. Those people are fucked. I'm not done talking about them. But I'm saying for those of you of the white female variant that are in the audience, for some reason, when you send love to me, and other Caucasians that do send love to me, it heals me. And when you spite me, it affects me. But I don't wish harm on you. I wish for Jesus and the Creator to intervene and for the light to prevail over the darkness. So I do call for that, for the light to prevail over the darkness. I repeat it over and over, for the light to prevail over the darkness. And whatever happens after that has nothing to do with me. But I definitely scream that the light will prevail over the darkness and the dark aspect of the audience that refuses to unsubscribe. If you refuse to unsubscribe and you hate me, you are choosing to be here. I'm not asking you to be here. I am asking you to leave. I am asking you to leave now. I'm not forcing you to care about the effects of the sun. I'm not begging you to care about what's happening with China. I'm not begging you or demanding that you care about the trees. I'm not begging that you care about people activating or advocating for your right to live off grid, which I did single-handedly with the issues that I have while being homeless. I still did stand with U.S. veterans that fought for this country in Afghanistan and fought for their right to live off grid, and now that's all in the past. That man, Hiram Jensen, stole my computer. You think I don't know why he stole my computer? You think I don't know why I get certain insults? I know that these people that went over there, male, female, even if they have sex with me and they suck on my penis, which one did? Who went over there? No, she didn't do that. She refused to do that, which was interesting. I respected her for that. But, she liked other things. She liked the adventure of it. But when she realized that I had trauma and had paranoia about her trying to drop off an electronic device, which I was concerned was a tracking device that the military sent her my way in some sort of James Bond scene, she, as a conspiracy person, did not really take into account my conspiracy theories and trauma, which is fused together, like some sort of like logo for like the health system. You know what I'm saying? You hear? When you have a damaged, off-grid conspiracy person who's dealing with like the real effects of 9/11, like to me, in my understanding, no, it's true. Modern conspiracy theorists that are white were not blamed for 9/11 or their family. You know that. And then when Trump was doing the ban the Muslim thing, you weren't thinking, my family. Even if your family threw you away, you still have compassion for your blood heritage. And what if you were stamped something that's associated with the religion? Ansary is associated with Islam. I'm Christian, folks. Again, back to that dream. I tell these spirits I'm Christian, and they're like, you're not Christian. So what I know now about becoming Christian is very much seen as like a white thing. You could say you're Christian in America, go to churches. They're like, pfft, pfft, you ain't, like, it's really like that. And so the biggest pathway for a lot of people to Satanism and why people choose the devil are mainstream Christians that are focused solely on Jesus died for your cross, Jesus resurrected. They just go down the line of the dogma and they completely skip the loving part of the teachings of Christ. So in that sense, they're do as thou wilt Christians. And back to Aaron. Aaron also tried to shake my confidence discussing Gnosticism and was trying to be influential. I'm glad he's gone now and we blew out that dark energy. But he was definitely trying to be influential, say that Gnosticism was bad. And I'm not sure what religious take he was coming from. But as I fired back, he kept doing that. But I'm a nice guy. I'm not really nefarious. I'm just trying to help you, Alex. And doing it with a smile. And then it hit me. This dude isn't right at all. Nobody in the head that's right, whatever, just ignore what's going on in Palestine. I don't want the Jews to be harmed, but you can look at what's happening to the cruelty to the Palestinians without calling for Israel to be nuked. You could, become like a real researcher. Stop listening to right-wing stuff. If you're so pro-Russia, which you are, at some point your tune's going to change when you see that I was right about Russia attacking Israel. So Russia's going to attack Israel. All of you that were Johnny-come-latelys to the Russian threat, you are disappointment, right? And don't come crawling to me when World War III declares saying that I'm right. Okay, you were the ones that should have held Gunner Standard accountable. You were the ones that should have held Mike Bluehair accountable. Don't come to me, Aaron and others, going, you were right about the solar flares, when I know for a damn fact you all tried to shake my confidence in me over and over and over. Aaron did, Aaron specifically. So they'll come with the viciousness and they'll come with a smile as your friends. They'll come in the form of Ryan Peterson, McPherson, and Crystal McPherson. And there'll be people that say they're tracking, the Costilla folks, but when they're told about pedophiles, they let that pass, showing what Satanism is, what this is about. This is about targeting certain light beings that want to be off grid and not be bullied by evil people. But there are people that will act like they're good, act like they're anti-criminal, but when they're told about men that bragged about having sex with children, they're not even the least bit concerned. And why would that be? What do you think is the real reason? When people are told that there are men that have bragged, or at least verbally said, that they get it on with children, nobody cares when they find out their identity is Caucasian and they have a certain Nordic look, which Paul Skinner does. Very Nordic. And all the friends that he had were really cruel to me. They were all in the same bloodline. So what you really have in Colorado is straight Satanism. I don't know that Colorado is ideal to survive the alien attack on consciousness. It seems that the residents of Colorado, like the residents of Oregon, like the residents of here, like the residents of New York, nobody's well right now, folks. Nobody's well and nobody's nice. We have a dark stalker energy going on with the eclipse. We have a murder energy going on. This is the time period of sacrifice. Monitor world news between now and May 1st. Now, I noticed vandalism in the area in which I'm at this time last year, and some sort of a name was spray painted that was associated with a motorcycle gang right here. Okay? Did that happen to you? No. That happened here. Then I contact someone that's in the region who I know is involved in bikerism, and he's almost talking down to me for even being concerned when I know he is in the country and none of that stuff is going on there. So what we have here, folks, is callousness. We have people probably looking down upon me for not living off grid when they played a role in me not feeling safe off grid and did things to me and made things up to convince me that it's best to cut my losses and take my chances in an urban environment with blacks and browns and many unstable whites. To go from the unstable whites and pure all whites and a few unstable blacks in Pagosa, a few unstable blacks that believe what we're being sold about Muslims. This is the problem with black Americans. They're susceptible to white nationalism programming. They're susceptible to anti-anybody but white and black people right now. They're susceptible to thinking that it's just the Democrats, as certain people in Portland have shown themselves to be under that mind control. Just because of the craziness of the left, just because Joey Gibson shows up or a supposed opposite of that, doesn't mean that they themselves are good because they're saying, hey, Antifa, stop burning down that city. Who backed me up when I stood against Antifa burning down that city? And which Antifa members have ever contacted me to say, bro, your life matters, not just Black Lives Matter and Palestinians. If they really believe ACAB, as some do, why not come to my aid? And that includes the ACLU. I did contact the ACLU, just so you know, with regards to what happened with Costilla County and with regards to what happened in New Mexico, and they did not help. So you need to understand, we have a problem with criminals gone wild and people using the system to harass. That includes land use officers off-grid, innocent people that are doing nothing to destroy the land. So now, because of your crackdown and your harassment of off-gridders, now all you have are people with arms, with guns, that are not godly people, that are like, so what? What are you going to do about it? If that's all you want, to live off-grid, then what we have here are evil satanic forces that are terraforming through alien energy, demonic energy, a situation in off-grid areas where it's meth heads, it's gangsters, it's white supremacists that are not going to be bothered by internet trolls because they're not men of God. But if you're a man of God and you're a follower of Jesus, you cannot just be anywhere off-grid where anybody can roll up and just put, bullets into your system. At least have surveillance cameras so you see the vehicle when it comes. There's no surveillance cameras where I was off-grid, and I talked about it. No surveillance cameras, and I felt vulnerable in the post-9/11 world. So I was set up for targeting when I was off-grid, and the off-gridders there didn't care. I became a Christian early on, but I didn't necessarily preach the Bible. So I went to Crossroads Church. I went to other churches. I went from church to church to church to church and said that I am witnessing domestic violence in them hills, and I'm scared. I'm not armed, and I am not equipped to deal with this. And then that guy was talking, jumping again, to Costilla County, and he's mentioning names of Zane. He's mentioning names of Costly. He's mentioning names of people that I heard before that have been known to have had sex with children. And all these people were connected to the McPherson household, Crystal and Ryan. And maybe the guy that sent me to Costilla. That guy, McPherson, is connected at one point to all these guys that had sex with kids. And so when Costly came up, he's like, that guy's so innocent. They just made that up just because he was an off-gridder. Really? Like, bro, I'm all about the, Cruz and Colleen being like not good. But to say that they would just make up and fabricate Costly getting it on with his daughter, that's horrifying. So I know that I was made a target by Costilla County or Colorado observers. Meanwhile, the actual people that are doing the criminal felony menacing and whatnot, they get a pass. But I was the one who was targeted, and I was the one who basically good law-abiding off-gridders need. Now, unless you're coveting white supremacy or Latino supremacy, like whatever is the motivation with this guy, I'm not sure. But doing that is wrong, and all we can do is invoke Jesus Christ. Now, we have a lot of people out there that are saying they're followers of Christ, but they're not. They're preaching, do as thou wilt. They'll say, because I believe that Jesus died on the cross, that I can harm other Christians, that I can drive Christians from their land. Like, so what are you, a militant Muslim then? What is the deal? Now, there are some borderline threatening messages coming in using Arabic language. So I don't know if it's a family, they're using certain initials, but they're trying to control my behavior, okay, and my actions. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why I can't meet you. I'm not going to go in a situation with people that are not screened yet and put my situation where you're going to start like ordering me to either get my clothes off or to do this or that. And that women will do that. Either fuck me or I'm going to find a man who will. Remember that? You're probably not in the audience, and I hope not. Go to hell, bitch. You think I forgot what you said to me in that year, in that place? Fuck me, or I'm going to find a man who will. How about that other expletive in Portland? She has one of these phones, and we're banging on the bed, and she goes to the bathroom, and I look it up, and it's got one of those things that shows you the text as it pops up. How's your boy toy doing? Boy toy, huh? I'm a boy toy. And then when I did so much as go out with a drink with Angel Sully, as if that was a setup, I lose my sex partner forever because she thinks I'm cheating on her with Angel Sully. All Angel Sully did was take me out for a drink after my 200th show, which I report on the swine flu outbreak in 2009. My 200th episode was the day the swine flu thing broke out. And I told people, don't buy into that. Now, if you took the, I don't hate you and think you're a part of the Illuminati, just so you know, I'm different than other conspiracy folks. I'm a contrarian, yes. I think that there's an agenda and we need to evoke Christ and spirituality against Satan, yes. But I'm not in agreement with Donald Trump. I'm not in agreement with Joe Biden. I'm my own guy. I'm a guy's guy, and I am ready, folks, to travel the nation. I am ready to go to the gym in Los Angeles, in Venice Beach. I am ready to do stunts in Hollywood if I had a single friend in Hollywood. I am ready to actually be an extra in a Hollywood movie. I am ready to get on the radio locally. I am ready to be a part of an off-grid community if there was to be a liaison between myself and others. Shout out to Trevor. Trevor, if you want to do introductions, if you're social, I don't know how you are on the mic. If you're not good verbally, may not work, but email seems like you're good with writing. Some are good with writing, but they can't speak. Some can speak and write. I'm kind of one of those. I want to have introductions with the Ashland guy. I want to promote myself living off-grid with a community in America and showing that we can do it without being fuck bunnies. We can do it in America without trashing the land. I'm not planning to bring a rave to Costilla County, but say there was going to be a rave of spiritual people that weren't going to destroy the earth, that weren't going to bring dirty batteries, that were going to do everything you bring, you're going to bag out. You're not going to harm the earth. Everything, pack in, pack out. That's how it has to be. This litter stuff, I just want to make sure people understand. I don't like people that fucking litter. I don't make a big deal of it. Okay, you haven't seen me get off and just go off, but you need to hear this for those that are watching me that were a part of me leaving off grid. I don't support that shit. I don't support polluting the land. I don't support beating women. I don't support getting on with kids. I don't support right-wingism. I don't support mainstream left-wism. I am a servant of Christ, and I have an ancestry that's been brutalized, okay? And I should not have been forced to leave Colorado out of fear of what you people would do to me. You did nasty shit to me when I was there. Now I'm in an element where there's actual bad gangsters and mafia figures all around me, right? Actual dangerous people here, unlike Pagosa. So things have changed for me psychologically, obviously. And I have options for moving now. I have multiple options for moving. But right now I have a base. But I can go here, I can go there. These aren't long-term options with people I know well, which is why I'm not jumping into it. You need to have a pre-arranged friendship with a human being, not a cult member, not a slave, but a human being. Now, how do you develop these relationships with human beings in the modern New World Order? How do you do that? How do you do it with all the mind control? How do you do it? I recommend Skype video. I recommend Zoom video, but China's gonna spy on you. Just don't say anything private that you would want to hide from the government on. I mean, you already know that, right? Gmail. I don't care. I don't care because they know everything. I have been watched for decades. I'm the guy that told you you're being watched by God. I know we're being watched. Numbnuts, new viewer. No shit. And you're being watched if you're evil and nefarious and trying to instill fear in me. It's you who's being watched by large fucking spirits, bro. If you're trying to fuck with me, I know I'm being watched, and that which watches me is being watched. The devil's being watched by God. So for those of you that are new viewers, you do not know a jack shit about my dedication to the Creator. Many of you hate God and you hate Jesus, and I don't give a fuck what you think. Okay? I've gone out there in the fucking streets of America in the last year, and I've physically come to Christ and gone to the churches and sent the churches my powerful voice. You don't know shit what I've done behind the scenes. You don't know fucking shit. You think I tell you everything? Try again, numbnuts. McFly. Although I do not associate with the bully, nor the bully in Over the Top. But when it comes time to say it, you ain't shit. Bah! You know, as you just, wow. It is that. What do you got? Show me your balls. Show me your tits. Show me your muscles. I'm speaking metaphoric. Show me your supernova, because I'm about to supernova. I don't need to worry about the supernova in the sky, but on that note, thank you, Patrick. I always thank Patrick for his great tips. Patrick sent us an article about the supernova in the sky. We're going to have another high energy eclipse thing. And I'm telling you, when this happens, we're going to see some dark alien, rape, murder energy explode. It's going to hit us like a hurricane. And it's not going to be this boom. We can predict it with the solar flares, watching suspicious observers prance around naked and going, look, I'm lean now. I've got muscles. You're a freak, Ben Davidson. I do not like him or his followers. Okay, so just leave. If you like him, just leave it out of it. Okay, if you like him and you like me, I would advise you to just leave out that SO worship nonsense. He is not a God. Now, if you want to start talking about prophecy God and those that have the golden touch, I think you found a good website, to be honest. Call me biased. I think that you're in an awesome spot right now, and you need to stay here and take the shit that I say seriously in this university that you're being given for free. Don't come to my university and bring in books from other classes. Okay, and I was told and scolded when I was a martial artist at 13 and 14. Bro, Alex, wake up. Stop this Bruce Lee shit. You need to be here now. I know you want Bruce Lee to be your daddy. You've known about him for a year, and you're obsessed with the fucker. More so than the A-Man. You're making the A-Man jealous, for crying out loud. Bro, the A-Man's your dude, not Bruce Lee. And people want to tell you, you're taking Hwang-Do, which is a form of Korean martial arts that I took in Longview, Washington, from a white guy balding who wanted to be bowed to because he was like alpha and shit. This dude taught science at the high school, and I'm thinking I have to bow to him in front of high school kids. Can you believe that? Can you imagine a situation where you have a narcissistic martial artist who's like, all right, bro, now when you see me, doesn't matter where you see me, you bow to me because I'm your sensei and shit, or whatever they use in Korean for sensei. And I'm just thinking like, motherfucker, you ain't shit. It's just one time in band camp, I saw a Filipino come in at the YMCA and give that martial arts teacher a run for his money. I witnessed that, and he was not liking that. He was like, whoa, man, this guy's better. Man, I'm going to have to. And that guy was like, woo, well, take that, old man. He didn't kick his ass, but that old man was like, whoa, this is not what I expected. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that guy had bad energy. Got to stay away from these Cobra Kai folks. AA or A-Man, I think, flowed between the spiritual side and the Cobra Kai dark arts. You know, dark arts is dark arts, you know, but you want to be in the light arts. If you end up in the dark arts and you're using black magic and you're not dealing with Christ, the Nazi energy doesn't have Jesus. Okay, and that's what Dion Fortune's writing about in her book. Okay, it doesn't have that spiritual protective energy. It has egors and thought forms that people create. And so you have a Nazi thought form of Hitler that's alive that isn't really spiritual. It's a mass meditation going on. So there's like a demon scum dark version of Odin, which is a thought form which is alive and well through the internet and chat rooms. And I'm saying that the spiritual origins of these symbols need to be reactivated. And if I create a group saying remembering Dion Fortune and unstable people show up that aren't ready to meditate, not a good sign. Now, not everybody that's going to come into a remembering Dion Fortune group has done what she calls the preliminary training. So, like I said, I deactivated my Facebook page, and then I contacted a woman and said, I would like to come to Vegas for a day, again, not to gamble, not necessarily to have sex, but not opposed to it if there's a spark, but really about truthing, maybe not megaphoning, and speaking into a microphone and spreading my light, kind of like I am sage and I am the clear. And this is what one of the books went into at the bookstore yesterday, that we have a level of magnetism and accessing that field that can heal us, but also our thoughts may be able to heal a certain level of mental illness out there. However, the entities that have control of our listeners and the people that we're talking to, they're going to rattle the listener and make the listener think that we're doing witchcraft on the listener, the demon. The demon associated with you, to you, since birth, is going to hijack your thoughts in many cases if you haven't come to the true light. I didn't say you had to come to Jesus, did I? I said come to the true light, however you do that. Okay? And I know that I don't feel that I did enough by not invoking Jesus consciously. Not the Gnostic Jesus per se, but a deeper, because I've come across a lot of Gnostics that don't seem to be spiritual just to get it out there, and I can't handle Aeon Bites Radio. I'm not attacking Miguel. It's just whatever he's got going on with that voice, it's a little too comical. No, it's Aeon Bites Radio. Ha, ha, ha. Count Dracula. Today on Sesame Street, it's A for apple. Ha, ha, ha. It's very Count Dracula Sesame Street. It's really hard to take seriously. But Eve Lorgan and others have talked about people invoking Jesus Christ when entities come. But I will tell you this. Praying for your enemies by itself will not make them nicer. What I see right now behind the scenes, which isn't being reported, is an increased, nastier energy once one becomes more spiritual. The opposite of what some of you think. Some of you think you can just pray for your enemies and the problem will go away, and that's not true. The more you pray, the more you open up your heart, the moment you create a sacred symbol and you put it on YouTube, which I did, is the moment that some sort of interference will pop up and some people will become repossessed that were previously possessed. And then I had a dream before all this started that indicated to me the return of this consciousness. Okay? So there is a unfortunate consciousness that is coming at me that wants to be a star of this show, and maybe shut it down and affect my actions. Everything is being documented, will be put into my book, so you can see every day how this person is trying to affect my reality. Okay? They're not going to. It's comical, but it's very sad that we can't have a normal conversation about China. And so the thing is, I don't know when I deal with interference energy if it's the Chinese in our system or if it's just someone who is really immature. But those of you that are really immature need to realize that it is possible for foreign governments to create interference for those of us that are trying to save your ass. Making a joke out of the danger that America is in is so fucking evil. What we're facing right now and what women are facing, more than me, but beautiful white women are facing in America's collapse with the rise in anti-white hatred is terrifying. You should not be trying to stop me from speaking about these things. I call forth the power of Christ to stop you from what you're doing. But if you continue to do what you're doing, I'm telling you now, I will not stop. I will not speak in an aggressive manner at this time. I will not stop what I'm doing. I will continue to promote off-grid living. I will continue to promote meditation. Now, if you continue to feel very ill and damaged and psychopathic when you hear these broadcasts, it's not me, bro. Nor was it you when I ate a hot pepper and I ended up crapping my guts out for an hour. It wasn't you at all. I can think it's you. Oh, somebody cursed me. It's me, bro. I'm the one who took the pepper. I'm the one who had the explosive diarrhea for 20 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God, my stomach is empty. Like, that's the way to do it, bro. Screw these colonoscopies where they just, like, bro, if you were into kinky stuff, just whatever. But you don't need that, for that. Why do you think the old people and the ancients survived? Yeah, I know their life expectancy was supposedly lower. My response is this. The extended life expectancy now isn't from big pharma. It's from a less warlike existence to where we have our fruits and vegetables, where we don't have to go to war every day for our bread. It's not big pharma per se that has led to us getting to 79, 78, 80 on average. Having said that, there's a lot of mind-controlled, damaged people on the earth. When I was young, the human that raised me seemed or appeared obsessed with resisting aging, which I knew as a young person was not a sign of sound mind. I knew at a young age that was not a sign of sound mind, because I knew that aging was real as a child, and I was perceiving that I was witnessing someone in a mental health crisis that somehow believed through, you know what I'm talking about, through new age mumbo jumbo, that through like an early 80s new age law of attraction, maybe with alien help, that they could reverse the aging process and be young forever. I could be wrong. Feel free, you know who you are to correct me, but the suggestion that I got was that you are perceiving that they would give you some sort of powers or something. Now, I also am doing a little digging into what's called institutional white supremacy within ballet and looking at some of the perspectives, and that there is an attempt to kind of change things also. But there are some people that are defensive regarding this being addressed, and you need to become mature enough to understand that not addressing systemic white supremacy is creating the anti-white sentiment. Not only will I keep repeating myself, and you will not stop me, I'm going to write books about this and have them translated into multiple languages. I'm going to shame Arabs and Afghans also for how they're coming into our country and not respecting the Bill of Rights and not looking at 9/11. You don't have to support me. You can hate me. I know you hate me anyways, but I know that when I look at shiny, happy white people on YouTube discussing mental health problems, off-grid living, showing that ass, you will bow down and support a white woman like she is a god. And me discussing this is not anti-white. I'm sitting here saying, don't kidnap those white women. You're not. You've got nothing on me but hate. Targeting and stalking and doxing and doing the whole thing is Satanism, and it's not good. It's not of the Lord. You might be protected for all your life and be given millions of dollars for being evil. and running godly people off their land while allowing demon scum to be on the grid. What we've got here, what I'm being told right now, is that we're actually dealing with government agents. And if that's the case, like, well, they know everything. And so they want to keep doing this. You're being watched. No, you're being watched by the creator. You can do this. You control the machines. You can shut off and you do that. Just so you guys know, they shut off my computer all the time. I look up gang stalking theories with regards to certain things. They shut off the computer. I talk about and I cite different faiths, including the one that a lot of you have been taught to hate, and say, hey, there's some spiritual things here. And they shut it down. I'm being watched all the time. And I get phone calls that you don't know about. There's some of you may not have been listening last 6 months and just arrived a month ago. I told you everything for 6 months. It's crazy. So this is a very long podcast, but if you go back in the 6 months, and remember there's 2 channels, plus there's podcasts on Substack, you have basically a full-time plethora of content plus I have 100 podcasts that have never been uploaded because I'm not seeing that you guys are really showing up on time and liking the posts. So I'm not posting that stuff because you're not showing me that you want to hear it. You know what I mean? I said many, many times, I have more than one Substack page. Okay, and I'm going to nurture and grow the other Substack page without necessarily supporting off-gridders, pushing back against white supremacy. Well, I should do that, and black supremacy, without putting my face on it or talking about myself. But just defending white people. You understand what I'm saying? And just defending black people and just defending people from attacks. And speaking in a general tone, but then going down one slice of pie at a time. Black people, white people, Middle Eastern people, Asian people, Latino, the different groups, and then male, female of the different groups or boxes that some of you are way too comfortable with, the illusions of separation. Okay, so within the illusions of separation, plus some of you are so obsessed with people being different and inferior that when you have a mental health crisis, when you take marijuana, that you think that other black and brown people should not have it. And it's also hypocritical for you to be a Trump support person and to be off-grid and smoking cannabis. When there's nothing, correct me if I'm wrong, send me a link, that Trump's done that's pro-cannabis, that's pro-off-grid, whereas Ansary has. So I am superior to the people that you people are following. Some of you attacked me and did horrible things to me because you were overtaken by the devil, and right now that devil frequency is active. And there's signs that that devil man consciousness is there, but we're not going to let it win. We're going to invoke Christ. And if this attack on those of us that follow Christ is going to keep coming, then we have to go down with the ship. According to Dion Fortune, we shouldn't be, asking the spirits to extend our life, but to make the sacrifice of our lives for the greater whole. Folks, you need to get that bug out of your ass, thinking that someone's trying to mock Jesus or be Jesus if they're willing to sacrifice their life. This is just something that I think some of you don't understand, and you're really playing with fire if you're going to attack followers of Christ. You really are playing with fire, and I really would recommend that you stop doing that. Okay, I really am just trying to give you decent advice. Okay?
Beast with wrath, because he knows the time is short.
You are lower than average intelligence if you think everything started with the Illuminati and that they run everything and are everything. There is consciousness and God above the devil. Try to pretend to be awake. I'm so tired of like the douchebag. We're so afraid of the light. The light is Lucifer. The light is the devil. No, the light is the God force. Wake up, devil man, and get that voice out of your head and start serving the light. If you can even do that for once in your fucking life. Okay. So, 3 women were contacted by me that were all blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and they're all given a chance to talk to me spiritually. And they're all been Facebook friends of mine for a long-ass time. One of them wanted to have coffee with me years ago. One of them is quoting the Quran. And appeared to be very spiritual when I bumped into her 12 years ago. So there are people that I remember that are white women that were very spiritual during the previous solar cycle. And some of them still seem spiritual on social media, but as far as like direct contact or having a spiritual experience, communicating with them in a one-on-one, absolutely not. Not even the slightest hint of spirituality in a one-on-one. Everything is like mocking spirituality. Oh, I'm spiritual in the comments, but I'm afraid of you in email because I'm afraid you're going to sex me or send me an image of your penis or something. And it's really not even that. They're just afraid anyways. Oh, I'm afraid to talk to you privately. I have to talk to you with a bunch of aliens watching the comment section and then thinking I'm weird for saying that. No, you're weird. Everything about this, we're just going to talk on the internet and develop these weird magnetic connections via email is satanic. Right? And then I'm like, man, I get weird emails sometimes, and then weird emails start popping up all of a sudden that think that I'm in a certain mindset, which I'm not. Like, I'm in this, folks, for the long haul. This fight that we're fighting, in which we're being watched by the Creator, the ultimate being, is one that goes on for multiple lifetimes. Anunnaki or Nephilim have lifetimes for thousands of years. Humans have lifetimes for 70 or 80. But powerful angel souls have their own lifetime. You need to think beyond the box of Nephilim and human and understand the other forms of soul that exist. You having a refusal to perceive other than human and demon reflects on you. Not me. Your potential inability to hypothesize that I've been gang raped as a female in past lifetimes, and that's where some of this rage comes from, is not my fucking problem. It's your problem. If you want to just keep this, you're just a short brown male who's a threat to our society, not see that I'm a cosmic divine soul who's trying to help all your races, that's not my fucking problem. If you did something to harm me, you need to correct it and bring me back to that place where I'm harmed. Because some of you have, I believe, the financial resources to at least help me financially. Money is nothing. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm not threatening you. I'm saying that if I was you and I was spiritual and I realized that our economy was crashing and I was born into wealth and privilege, like many of you, that have family members, that have wealth, that pass on land, you know what I'm getting at. That's stuff that I don't have. Some of you were actually raised by parents that liked you. Some of you actually were given a shot at life and you never were driven to the streets to use heroin with Gunner Standard. Gunner Standard was sent in by the devil. If Gunner Standard had not been sent in, I swear to God, I never would have shot dope. And I never would have stole those pants from Nordstrom and ran, making me an F. Like, I'm sorry, guys, I made a mistake, but I didn't have medical marijuana. I told you that in the 90s. And if the A-man or someone else was my friend back in the day, I would have ran to this. The song that's coming to me. I listened to this music before Gunner came into my life. And I took the bus home through a dangerous part of downtown Portland. And I was only 18. And I didn't even have knuckles on me. I don't think even. I was such an innocent little kid. Honestly, I think that A-man rubbed some darkness off onto me. I don't care what he thinks, man. That guy did some evil ass shit and pretended to be my friend is the truth, guys. He talked about horrible things he did to fucking people, okay? And then he acted like he was going to be my dad, okay? I'm fucking sick of this shit. And people like my mom acting like she's been talking to spiritual people. I said to you, Mom, I'm the only man of God you've ever known. I say that to the people in my community when I megaphone them. I'm not asking you, black man, to hate white people. I'm asking you to stand up and be something like a fucking victim. Okay? It's not fucking normal for me to walk around this neighborhood and community and say, I stand against fucking evil. Okay? I don't care if the whole neighborhood can hear me. Do something. You ain't shit. You ain't trying to help anybody. Okay? This welfare shit, Section 8, blah, 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 that other people are living in is not going to be my fucking life. And asking for the government to fix my fucking problems. No, I'm going to write books. I'm going to not have a cult. I'm going to have fucking friends in platonic, powerful, white or non-white women that are going to have my back. But non-white women, for some reason, don't fucking like me. And I refuse to think that I've done something wrong or bad to them. I've seen lesbian white women say, we know that you're an ARAPer. Who I gave this woman, Ashley, my teardrop camper in Portland to her homeless mom with somewhat of a Latino thug hanging around with her, by the way, came up from some other place. So you have literally an invasion of the body snatchers in Portland, people that act like they love and light. They have literally the pentagram in their fucking house, the Star of David. I don't think that's satanic. It's the inverted Baphomet shit that has me concerned. It's the Baphomet. Okay, story time. So yes, I was helped in Portland when I was homeless by a couple lesbian women who were associates of James Gillen. And they gave me $200 cash to watch their house for them for 2 days. And inside that house, I sensed Baphomet and Satanism. And I sensed a sense of distrust from them. And this Ashley woman I picked in 2017 to be my contact in Portland, my woman in Portland, to turn in my Access TV shows, where I can talk about the Battle of Portland. Some of you found me during that time period, and you saw that I was trying to reach out to Portland. But some of you, even though I did stand against the right wing and left wing, you still did harm me because I stood up for off-gridders in Costilla County. And that's satanic because there's going to be law-abiding people of your heritage, whatever you're Latino, white or white Latino, whoever harmed me in Colorado through racism that's institutional within Colorado. Just because I have a diverse lineage doesn't mean that my kind is a threat to your species. I am an intellect, and I see myself as a protector of people. So I refuse now to allow myself to be afraid of any of you. I declare myself a servant of God. Now, if you want to wage war on that, I can't stop you from doing that. I can't stop you from drone striking me. I can't stop you from assassinating me. I can't stop you from sending emails to force me into homelessness and living in the streets because I think you're after me. But folks, I'm not going to run this time, is what it is. I'm not going to run. If I want to go on vacation, I'll go on vacation when I fucking want to go on vacation. Not because you're telling me to go on vacation now. You can't make me do shit. And everything is being documented. There are people out there right now working potentially in the teams trying to force me to do things that I don't want to do. No, you're not going to stop me from speaking. This is going to be a daily show, and it's going to be 3 or 4 hours. And you're not going to stop it. You're not going to stop it. Even if the channel goes down, I'll create a new one, and we're going to do a daily show. If Clyde Lewis can do a daily show, if George Norrie can do a daily show, and if you're having mental health symptoms, I have heard this over and over and over from servicemen, that I make them ill. Folks, you're not right to begin with if you went overseas. I don't believe that. There's nothing legitimate about even being duped into it. You need to understand my thinking. You need to know me, bro. I don't think it's legit to even be duped in 2001 to go there. To begin with, that's not right. That's not normal. You all should have already been awake enough. If you weren't awake when 9/11 happened, you're not awake now until you go and you physically prove to me that you're going to say that those lives matter that you killed. You do not get forgiven by me if you went overseas until you prove with facts that you're going to tell people about my story or that Afghan lives matter or that Iraq. If you can't do that and you're just staying with white lives matter, you have not repented of the invasion of those people. And your soul is marked, bro. Just because I'm telling you that you are fucking marked by Satan doesn't mean that I hate you. You can be healed and you can repent. Just because I'm telling you that your ass is now marked by Satan if you went overseas and killed my kind. If you want to heal that, I'm giving you specific instructions, but it's not donation money and it's not emails and it's not compliments. You have to actually go out and take action and not make it about me, dude. You need to acknowledge and digest that those people overseas are being tortured. You need to acknowledge, dude, and digest that your city, whatever your city happens to be, is filled with anti-Israel, pro-Palestine protesters that some are anti-Afghan and ex-military. Okay? There's no reason that there's left-leaning people in Portland that are ex-military that are not a part of an Afghan Lives movement. Not if you had BLM there. The only way that you can repent, in my eyes, as a service member, is to do some sort of Afghan Lives Matter movement. You will never have any exchange with me energetically if I know that you're one of the super soldiers. Okay, because you have the potential to become unstable enough to kill me because you don't have another Afghan to look at because they don't exist. Afghan truthers don't exist on the earth. I don't know why I was cursed with this mega knowledge, but you cannot deny that my last name's Ansary and that it has a certain lineage that's documented that goes back to the foundation of ISLAM. So if your people are going to have a war on ISLAM, it doesn't matter if I look white as Hulk Hogan. If I'm an ANSARY, when you're having a war on Islam, people having a war on Islam will hate me even if I'm Christian. And that is Christian persecution. That is the spirit of Arianus. Okay? I got a telepath hit the other day that someone was offended that I criticized Arianus. Now, Arianus said, kill them all, let God sort them out. It's the mainstream Christians that are do as thou wilt. Yes, you have modern day Gnostics that are totally cool with white supremacy. They're not real Gnostics. They're just avoiding Christ, guys. So yes, you have modern Luciferian Gnostics that are avoiding Christ, that are do as thou wilt. But that's not me. And that's why Gnostics don't like me. Go right now to the Chicago School of Gnosticism and show me one video they have against murder in Afghanistan. I'm sorry, what? Nothing. And so if you really want full gnosis, the Alex Ansary content goes above and beyond anything spoken in the Nag Hammadi, anything spoken in the Old Testament or the Quran. The words that I speak on this platform are as valuable or more valuable than any holy book. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? It's me that warned you about China and Russia, not Jesus Christ. Now, that's fine if you're Christian, but Alex Ansary warned you about shit that Muhammad, whether you want to call him the great merciful Muhammad, if this Muhammad's so awesome, where are the followers of Muhammad without a retard face going, Arr! Where are the followers of Muhammad that aren't pro-Taliban in my audience? If we're being invaded by these people, where are they in the audience? You would think at some point, if it's so pro-left and they're so loving, that eventually, like, legitimate Muslims would pop up that are not psychopaths, that are not government agents trying to dupe me into some orthodox Taliban is good. What a way to entrap an Alex Ansary to get him to say Taliban's good. That's some psycho shit, bro. That's some psycho shit. Like, let's say that person, and we'll leave his name out of it, is a legitimate boy. Shaitan whispers, got you by the testes, boy. You need help. And I'm so sorry I couldn't be the one to help you. But you're not serving Allah if you're anything pro-Taliban, because the Taliban is the excuse for killing the Afghans. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So if you're pro-Taliban and you're pretending to be a Muslim and you're using Arabic letters on your YouTube channels where you re-upload a video of me screaming at Alex Jones, you're not looking legit, and you may not be an agent, but you may be an agent of them in the unseen realms. And that's what a lot of you people need to understand about the controllers and those that can control Lisa Lyon and Clyde Lewis and maybe even Passio. Because if Passio is really pissed off like he used to be at the Dominator Destroyers, he would never hang out with Alex Jones. And Alex Jones, if he was listening to Mark Passio in the car, which he bragged about on his show, there's no sign of Alex Jones waking up to his own evil, because Mark Passio has censored himself and is no longer speaking in a very alpha, deliberate manner. Now, I do enjoy aspects of the Mark Passio show, but I have to watch it in segments and chunks. And by the way, when I edit, for example, like a segment from the Coast to Coast interview, like I did in a recent Substack post, which isn't going to go out to Portland Cable Access, but it went out to you if you want to watch it on Substack, I use my intuition only, and I go in with my little cutting tool, and I go in, out, at random, y'all. And so that commentary that you hear from me about authoritarianism, right? When the solar flares ramp up, not only do you have fights and emotionalism, which you already heard me talk about, you have the hammer, you have the crackdown from the system. Bad boys, what you gonna do? You have predator energy, you have hunter energy, especially around the time of the eclipse. So the animals change, the four-legged animals, like my cat, and other animals, maybe the fish too, dogs in the neighborhood. And then you have changes in human behavior. And so some humans that have demon souls, they go into, oh, be scared, we're coming for you. You are being watched. No, you're being watched by the Creator. Everything that you fucking done to me is going to be brought up on our judgment day. And the sun and the moon are going to be witnesses. Every bit of stalking, every bit of harassment, and literally you're going to have to repent before the Creator in a genuine way in your heart to get out of hell, because I don't believe in an eternal hell. But if you're going to stay in that vibrational state, you made your bed, sleep in it. A famous quote said to me by the Amen years ago, but the same thing stands for him. And Portland, and America, Muslims, Afghanistan. Muslims aren't victims by Alex Ansary. Coming soon. Hypocrisy in the church. Podcast coming soon. Screw it. The dark side of pornography for members only, but they'll probably unsubscribe when they hear what I have to say. Coming soon? Or maybe we should put that somewhere else where you won't judge me for bearing witness to filth. Am I interested in you unsubscribing because I'm a bigger man than the man that you are? Go ahead. I'm sorry. What? Unsubscribe. Yeah. Oh, you're offended now. And that's why Mary threw me away. Because Mary, ultra human, right, kept up, my husband, my boyfriend, my husband, my boyfriend, my husband, my boyfriend. Your boyfriend is nothing. He probably kicks your ass, white woman. Stand up against the patriarchy. Stand up against brutality. And stop blaming the brown world. Okay? If you pick men that are Johnny-come-lately, do-nothing douchebags that sit on the toilet all day long and do nothing but smoke weed, strong weed, and play violent video games, Call of Duty, that's on you, honey. You need to be able to get that gyrating action going on to where you literally can get off like a rocket ship with a good man when you get that chi going through your chakras. Get that root crown chakra going in a vortex and get that going and don't climax right away and have a union for 45 minutes and love the one you're with, as the song says. How many of you even know how to make love other than fuck like monkeys? I'm having flashbacks to that Maria from Australia, and they're joking about us having sex. My blonde-haired, blue-eyed staff members, all the same race, all the same. Everything you have said about victim consciousness is a lie. I'm from Portland, fucking Oregon, the town of the left-wing Nazis. Blaming everything on Trump. You can't tell me that didn't happen to me. You can't tell me these people in Portland are loving people. You people keep hearing things from the news. Some of you think they really are against racism, which is just like nightmarish to me. That you don't know, some of you, that there is not an anti-white supremacy, anti-black supremacy movement, although there's aspects of the patriot movement that isn't like Islamic supremacy and black supremacy. They really have more of an anti-white movement. I have to tell you this over and over because some of you are dumb tarts and you've been brainwashed by all the media. Because you hear me talk in a way that's so different, you just assume the worst and you do horrible things to me, which is so fucking horrible. Which is why I believe I'm in hell. There's no way that I can live in an environment, stand up for white off-girders being kicked off their land, and also stand against white supremacists to try to get on the Latino or the Colorado good side that are left-leaning. There's nothing you can say or do to get the people of Colorado to like an Alex Ansary. Those people in Colorado are fucked. And I was actually warned by a psychic to not go back, actually, to that spot. I was warned by now 3 people to not go back, just so you know. I'm wanting to go back. And I'm told by 3 people that are real psychics, don't do shit. Your car won't make it, bro. It's got issues you don't know about, is what was told. And now I'm driving my car, and it's like I don't know if I'm going to have a car, folks, in 6 months. I might be kissing every fucking thing that I invested in that land. Gone. The land, gone. $7,000 in my teeth, gone. With a dental implant. Oh, my mom's only, I'm going to come into your life and influence you. Here, reconnect with this guy who abandoned you and be re-traumatized by his energy. Now come over here and do this. Now, cry about Donna, who stole Grandpa away from our land and act like you should care about. Now, let me give you $1,000 and forcefully tell you, you have to get an implant, and it has to be like an annual thing for you to get a stick up your ass and get a colonoscopy and keep taking bad drugs, and cannabis is bad, stay off the internet and be afraid, be very afraid, enjoy the silence. Like literally everything was, oh, by the way, and your uncle said that you did something satanic and I was your mother and I defended you. I am your Lord and Savior. I am your Lord and Savior. I saved you. Sean and David Nagel didn't get disciplined. And look at where Sean is now. You got disciplined. I did a good thing. You wanted to live with your dad. You need therapy. Like, this is her, folks. This is me coming to my mom going, Mom, we need to heal this, after she physically came to meet me. And you know what she did? She telegraphed concern about white supremacy when I intuitively knew as a psychic she was faking it. She's like, yeah, and that white supremacy stuff, not good. She looked me in the eye and faked compassion, which was astounding. And then she was literally like doing the little girl thing, like, I want to go to the petting zoo. I just want a trip. And she was transparent. I don't really like you. I don't really want to heal shit with you. I just want a trip. I just want to be in pleasure mode. I want to be a little girl. I want to be a little girl. I want to be on the pony. I want to be on the pony. And she's like, please take me to the petting zoo. And I'm like, oh my God, are you my mommy? Or are you a little girl who wants like some guy to, maybe we could just bop around. And folks, I'm not an amusement ride. If I came out of your wazoo or whatever, you should cherish the fact that you even are allowed to speak to me, and we need to be driving somewhere to have a private conversation, not a fucking Burger King or Starbucks, but a pleasant conversation without fucking strangers. And you should already know what QAnon is. Well, now I know you follow people that are QAnon, honey. You don't know what QAnon is, but yet Sean Atwood and others that are into QAnon, yet you don't know what QAnon is. Wow. Lady, I have been your biggest teacher and man of God you have ever known until you can write me a letter and go, you're full of shit, dude. This guy over here, Sai Baba, is this shit. Sai Baba, according to people around the world, is doggy doo-doo. So you have placed your son under psychopathic Hindu nutbags, lady. Okay, that's the truth. You white women of the modern day and age, especially you Oregon women, you are so nymphomaniac corny for the latest flavor that comes around. But when that body comes out of your, you know what, right? You're off to Disneyland. So this poster is going to go up soon. Okay. This is the symbol for AA. So for those of you that are just conspiracy tards, like there is a meaning of the circle and the pyramid. Okay. There is something to pyramid power that is not Illuminati. Okay, there is something to pyramid building that brings in a cosmic energy and distributes it. That is not Illuminati. And then Ryan McPherson would gaslight me and keep acting like I was a typical conspiracy theorist for saying Illuminati. Oh, so you're saying, I'm like, dude, I don't use that verbiage Illuminati like 24/7. I talk about solar flares, China, Russia, the truth about Afghanistan. I'm not your typical conspiracy theorist. And basically, like, still the world is so brainwashed right now that is just all people see. recommend this for listening to music and getting away from the internet. I do not recommend iPhones. I do not recommend Apple products. I do not recommend Wi-Fi, if you can help it. I do not recommend wireless earbuds. I do not recommend Bluetooth. I frown upon everything you people think is now normal. I just want us to have transparency. If you're watching me on a cell phone, why? If you're watching me on a cell phone, why? When you know what cell phones do. If you know cell phones are punching you in the face, why are you on the cell phone? What the fuck? If you don't want to be a victim, how about stop acting like a victim? I will not tolerate weakness in this dojo. Is that understood? Yes, sensei! I will not tolerate stupidity in this dojo. Is that understood? Yes, sensei! So yes, I did pick this up for $9.99 at the store. I'm happy to have it. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that these wires are really breaking down on these programs, on these devices, on these electronics. Okay. So yeah, after 3 years of being kind of in a dark spell, just to recap, things really sparked for me about a year ago. I have over 100 podcasts that I've not yet uploaded. If I was to generate $50 a day through donations. So for a while, one person was sending 20 per video. There used to be someone donating in the past called Gold Thread. And once I got on the Solar Flares, he was gone like Flynn. Really sad that when I evolve to new heights, I actually lose monetary support. The more immature I am, the angrier I am, the more financial support, sexual support, and everything. A lot of what you people think consciously in your mind is wrong. I actually have become more spiritual. And what it's doing is it's alienating more people from the audience that have different religious views, Old Testament views, that are not consistent with my views. I am not a Old Testament person. I'm not going to bend to old God deity energy. That's not what I represent. And nobody in my inner circle agrees with those sentiments either about the Old Testament deities. Nor do I feel like I have to pray 5 times a day like a Muslim. And I view most of these Old Testament worshipers as Johnny-come-nothing, do-nothings, and they don't really understand God. One of the reasons why they don't understand God is because they're not being punished by the devil because they're not exposing anything. So they think, in some cases, that God is the devil and the devil is God. They think they're worshiping God in some cases, and they're like, you must bow to Hawa! You must bow to Hawa! And it's a very hardcore prison rape energy is what it is. It's a rape energy. It's you're going to bow to the old world ka, or you will be punished by the Lord. It's that revenge psychopathic, kill the gays, do this and that. It's psycho. It's a demon. And there are humans that like my content that are still connected to him. And so for you to get my respect, you must break from him to be healed by me. You cannot be healed by me in my gnosis if you bring him, not God, but him or that thing, beast, disguising itself as God through scripture. You understand? I am following the true God above the false gods. And the very fact that that is my intention to shoot to the top should be all you need to hear. Not verbiage, not there's no place like home. Click, click, click. Not Molly, 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 Molly. Although Molly's great, but nothing wrong with Molly. By the way, you got Molly? Anybody seen Molly? Nobody's seen Molly. In fact, my friend in Portland, contact in Portland's like, bro, you can't get Molly. This is the dude who's like, you need to get over here to the West Coast. You're jealous of me and my apartment and my SS check. You need to get over here to the West Coast. I'm like, no, I don't. That was his message, folks, not me. I was showing his message, not me. Some of you act like you're super smart and you look into things that I show you on screenshots and you don't realize I'm showing you screenshots that other people fucking sent me. And you think I'm the one. It's like, what the fuck? And you think that I should think that you're smart? You think that I should think that your opinion should matter on me when you have demonstrated to me that you're not together? Some of you are way more together in 2017. You think you became, and then you think that I fell apart. No, bro. I quit drinking every day. I quit looking at adult content every day, okay? I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit drinking alcohol. I quit smoking full THC. I went to the 2-1, not the 1-1. I went to the 2-1, CBD dominant. And my life changed. There are some forms of synthetic THC that I take because they're cheaper than hell. And I determine that some brands won't harm you. But some of those brands of some of those synthetics will. It just depends on the brand and the quantity. So sometimes we may need to cut the real stuff due to economics to chill. But I am not living a lifestyle of sex with lots of women, lots of drinking. But there's going to be times in which I feel very primal. And I want to go into, that type of spiritual monkey mode, to be frank. Baby making simulation to the point of actually being willing, because I'm influenced by the solar cycles. There are periods in which the body is screaming to have a child. And so I did notice an abnormal desire to create a form of life that was not normal for my psychology in and around the eclipse. And then I found out there's a bunch of people that had sex around the time of the eclipse that are preparing to have a baby. So I was also making predictions just out of my wazoo. Divination is of the devil. Yeah, if you're of the devil. No, God did not give us the ability to see through the devil's plans if God didn't want us to expose Satan. Okay? Yeah. Quote me, Jack. This whole don't look into the future, don't look at the jinn, don't look at demons with your third eye or whatever you want to call it is not of the Lord. You do, and I am commanding you to access your abilities to identify the evil. And Christians are saying the opposite. Don't do divination, just read this book. We have the answers. You don't, but what's this about Jesus saying, I can do many things? Nah. Focus on this, Romans 13. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And then I'll bring this up. Hey, I read the Bible, but hey, guys, what about this thing about authority? I'm sorry, what? What about this thing about authority? Both the Quran and the Bible are both like, bow to authority, bow to it. But what if the authority figures are killing your people? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? When you see me call out something in the Bible that's hypocritical, you should have a light bulb and go off above your head and go, well, what if then what I perceive as God and what I call God is also a lie if they're trying to route me into sacrifice? So if you're opposed to the sacrifice energy of the eclipse, then you need to see the role that the Christian right and Zionism is playing right now in Gaza. And if you're unable to do that due to some sort of religious persuasion, then that would not be of the Lord. That would be of the archons. And you should thank me, not pay me in spirit. You should thank me and thank the true God that you found me to activate your light. But you're not the light if you're trying to route people into religion. If you want to promote the teachings of Christ and explaining the plight of, say, black people in prison and the nightmare going on there, then I would applaud you and support you and repost your videos on my Substack. But I am not yet seeing content creators in my audience that are on the light side other than Search for the Truth and Gypsy Fox. Okay, I'm sorry if you're a content creator and I don't know that you make content of the light, feel free to let me know and drop your link and I'll check out your content, right? But if you start getting into racism, if you start going too dark for me, if you start sounding suicidal, if you start sounding like you're not really in control of your own thoughts, I'm not promising to watch your content just because you subscribe to me. I don't see this as a collaborative effort at all. I'm just using YouTube because I got nothing else. We're not, this is like falling down. We're like the Nazi comes up, I'm like you and me. And Michael Douglas goes, no. I'm not like you. You're not like me. So let's go back to those 3 blonde women that I've contacted. They're all supposedly love and light. They're all supposedly anti-war. They all got that spiritual, I'm a fairy, I'm of the light side of the war of genetics in Europe, of the light and the dark, the demonic influence over genetics there and other genetics, and then the angelic influence over the Caucasian European genetics. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about, some of you do. The Vlad the Impaler energy and the dark side of the Germanic versus the other aspects of European heritage that didn't go full-on fascist. There's always been this attack on white people, and the group mind, as Dion Fortune talks about it, and now we can see it on the Afghanis, the East Indians, the Latinos, the blacks. We can see programs that are Hitlerish being used actually by other ethnic groups other than white, if you're smart and you're not a dumptard. Derp. Okay? And some of you like to use language acting like I don't know what I'm talking about, so you sound smart. He's got the Doppler Gobbler Keebler Elves syndrome. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's a retard. Yet you're the retard. You're not smart by going to a vocabulary glossary term of terms and going, he's a retard. I'm going to sound smart by using this term you people are familiar with. No, you're smart if you expose what's going on in the world. You're smart if you expose anti-white racism and you're not a racist yourself. That's brilliant. You're a dumb fuck if you're a white nationalist as a response to anti-white rhetoric. You're what's wrong with America. You're threatening your own family's life and your entire community. My community right now is more protected for me being here, and I've declared it through the megaphone. They have a greater chance. Deal with it. They have a greater chance of survival because I am here. Period. No, I declared it, so it is so, and so be it. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. I mean it and I believe it. And I will continue to truth you and the society when I am no longer in the flesh. This is not over, including for those of you that harm me, that did things to me to cause other people to try to harm me or kill me. And for those of you that aren't dead, this is not over. This is not just some experience we are having. It is happening in our dreams. It is happening on the astral plane. I fear none of you. I do not fear you, Leon Nagant, who threw me away for a gay man in the Philippines, as if that isn't suspicious as fuck. I do not fear you, witch, locally, who's a black racist, who I called out last night and said, I will not visit your store because I see how you treat your customers and profile them and spy on them, and I don't fear you. You think you've dealt with racism? Not when you have your sisters. Like, black people are nuts, dude. I'm not being racist. If they think that they're the most suppressed, yet they have friends to talk to and chat with, they don't know what it's like to be in the hole in society. You know what I mean? I'm in the hole in society. I'm living in solitary. There's no excuse for it. If you really are being invaded by people that hate you and are brown people and whatnot, not that I hate you, I want to protect you for some crazy ass reason, but I want brown people to find me and cheer me on. They refuse to. But white people and veterans, they keep finding me. This is not the demographic that has empathy for me. And you know why. You know why the current demographic does not have the empathy necessary to keep my ass alive when the hammer comes crashing down. If you even for 5 fucking seconds thought you were annoyed by me talking about race or my background, you are not of God. Period. And I don't want you here. Don't you understand what I'm saying? You are here to sit down and shut up and watch from the spectator seat, and you are not to have contact with me. If you had anything to do with the destruction of my people, I do not want you talking to me. If you had anything to do with the destruction of my people, I don't want you in this fucking audience. You know what you have to do for me, and it is not fucking money. Okay? You can pray for me. You can speak positively about me. You can take back the evil things that you said to me. Okay? I'm talking to more than one person for those of you that are narcissists and think you're the only person in the audience. I mean, get over it. There's multiple people that have the same alien thing in the head, is what I'm saying. I'm talking to like a bunch of you that are all corded to him or them. Don't act like I'm out of line. Don't act like I'm out of line. Folks, we're seeing UFOs right now coming out of the eclipse. Don't act like they're not trying to put some of you under a spell. Now, let me tell you something. When the advice was given from me to certain people in regions where it was going to be, they did not take it in some cases. Okay? And there absolutely is this peer pressure thing going on to get us to look at the eclipse. And it's not healthy. And to look at videos of the eclipse. And it's like when you see that video of the Mayans and they're like, and they're doing the sacrifice. Like that's what they're doing now. Let me get back to the blonde ladies. So they all three know that I'm willing to talk with them and I'm sending non-sexual platonic energy. I just want to talk. We knew each other 10 years ago. One lady, I've never talked to her, but she's in Vegas. And then I give her basically an introductory, not let's hook up and have wacky tobacco. Let's talk about conscious things. This is my email. This is me. This is my Substack. Do you want to meet for a cup of coffee and maybe do a podcast about the world's problems? 3 people now have been given my email and my Substack. Then I flipped off my podcast, my Facebook. So I can't be contacted by Facebook. If they want to talk to me and not reject me, they can do. So it's not a matter of like trying to get laid. Like this is what a monkey devil man thinks. It's about me trying to connect with my racial roots. Just because you're constantly seeing me as brown doesn't mean that I wasn't raised by a white family and came out of the Lewis and Nagel sperm and egg. I did. And all that Anglo-European history is within me, along with their dispositions towards what you would call mental illness. Again, white people disposition towards mental illness. You want to force it to be an Ansary Afghan thing. It's actually the Nagel side that's the nutter and the Lewis. The Ansarys are smart, but they're just selfish material girls and boys. They love to suck on that cock of the U.S. military. So those of you that served in the military that hate me, when I told you now that my dad's family is a military family, you're a special kind of Satanist. I told you that my family on my dad's side was a part of your occupation of overseas lands, and you still have beef with me. That's fucking psychotic, bro. That's straight Satanism. We're ending this video at 3 hours, and this may be a regular thing. When the money starts to roll in as far as donations, this may become a regular thing. When positive emails begin to roll in, this may become a positive thing. But for now, I think that it's ideal that I just do this once a day max. And then in some cases, several a day when the energy is super explosive. And I didn't drink last night, and I'm not guzzling too much coffee. However, Run, Forrest. Run, Forrest. So, I told her, okay, because she sent me like a message many years ago. She did want to get with me or have coffee. If you want to talk to a real man about the future and understanding the present, let's have coffee, okay? We don't need to talk on Facebook, okay? If a woman's conscious and she's of God, then she should be. Then I see one person, and you'll judge someone by their friends, too, out of safety. So if you look at one of their friends, oh, they're quoting the Quran. Awesome. Then you look at another person, they're doing the whole, like, Star of David thing. I stand with Israel. See, that's not a sign of a person that's really decided, like, what she understands or what's going on, but just kind of being smiley and friendly with everyone. And that's fine to be like smiley and friendly and positive. Problem is, we're a little too positive about genocide. I'm saying it's not negative to be disgusted by women getting raped and destroyed. Maybe it's negative for you to be a bit too relaxed regards to that. So for those of you that are only concerned about Ukraine and Russia and you cried for them, but you felt nothing for the last 20 years, that has to do with the alien agenda that's deactivating your compassion for non-white people, okay? And you need to, as white people, grow to have compassion for all the races so that your ass is saved when they come for you. So that when that day comes where they're like, round up the white people, cut them up, eat them in Haiti, rape the white women to death and put it on digital TV and do a pay-per-view, right? The only thing that's going to save your ass when that day comes is whether or not you're a high voltage soul or not. And some godly women may actually, unfortunately, be raped to death because this world is so hellish that it is like we did something wrong to even get sent here. I'm sorry to say that. But we're not in paradise. And a lot of people that are benefiting right now really well are Satanists. The people that harm me are doing very well financially. And some of them, just so you know, did work for the big banks in Denver, Colorado. Some of the people that have trolled and harassed me did work for Chase Manhattan Bank in downtown Denver, Colorado. So when I write my autobiography and I go over all the listed suspects, and some of them work to hide their identity, we really don't know how great their wealth is. And one of the individuals that did a hit piece on me, who's anti-white, whose name is Devin Peon, and anti-black, did receive over $1 million from the federal government. But nobody's trying to shame him for being anti-white, because he is a Hispanic man with money who try to blame people like me and others when needles start showing up, instead of realize that when the solar cycle ramps back up, more people do drugs. And when I was there in 2015, the solar cycle ramped up, and that's why you had 50 people show up at that planning commission meeting, but they did it later because they're responding to the solar flare. So whether you like me, don't like me, you still can learn from me. We aren't just talking about Costia County and off-grid living. We're talking about life. We're talking about the sun. We're talking about energy. We're talking about motivation. We're talking about libido. Also, when I talked to the male dentist at the dental school, And I told him that these refugees that are coming over, some of them are being put into high-level positions of authority. So if they're going to be xenophobic, like I'm sure that young supposed Christian white guy was, who was very racist towards me, even if you guys are bent on that, it really does happen. People really do blame people that look a certain way after 9/11, okay? It's true. Lots of people are totally clueless to the truth about 9/11. Don't act like they're awake. Stop it. Just stop. Stop it. Just stop. There's a lot of brainwashed people in this country, and they certainly aren't blaming your ass for 9/11 unless you're Middle Eastern. And I've been doing this for 20 years. Veterans don't like me, Muslims don't like me, and women don't like me talking about human trafficking. This is all Satanism. This is all the alien agenda. I'm taking that to my grave. It's going to be on my tombstone. Okay, you are being controlled by aliens if you have hate for me when I tried to help you. Okay, that's what's on the tombstone. So we have Star Trek, First Contact. If you have VHS tapes that you want to send to me, like a lot of them, I will consider it. Con Air. Or if there's VHS tapes that are really cheap on the internet that you think that I might like, tell me about it. Like, I would love to get that self-defense for everybody on VHS. 4 movies on my list. Firestarter, 1985. Drew Barrymore. Pump Up the Volume, Rambo 3. I did see all 4 Rambos plus 6 hours of content for $12.99 at a bookstore. And then Bloodsport and maybe Showdown in Little Tokyo with London and Brandon Lee. And then I also saw another article that was talking about how awesome it's going to be for biracial white Chinese children. And that's fine. That's fine. But I did interpret that. This is Heat. Great movie. No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan. I complimented Hulk Hogan in the presence of Mars from Sin City, and the A-Man got bent because the A-Man basically showed me at that point that Marv was alpha over A-Man for even thinking for a second that a 13-year-old should be insulted. Marv should have taken me in and shown me how to box. I think Marv's a Nazi. I think Marv from Sin City's a Nazi. I think A-Man's friend Marv hates Alex Ansary, unless A-Man could say, bro, that's not true. I've sent him your work. I've sent him your work, and he says, that's a good boy. That's a real Hulk Hogan. Do that for me, bro, and we'll talk again. Okay? But I think we're done, aren't we? Karate Kid? No, I want to hear that your friends think I'm more than a douchebag, dude. Okay? Because I'm tired of this shit. My whole fucking life hearing about these Supermen, Marv and Sin City. Marv and Sin City ain't fucking shit compared to Alex Ansary. Fuck him and fuck that fucking stripper in that movie. No, I don't mean literally. Folks, just relax. Sometimes I speak in metaphors. Oh, fucker. No, I didn't mean literally. I think we hit the 3-hour mark. I showed you some movies. Heat's a good movie. I'm feeling drawn to read from Eve Lorgan's book. And I'm drawn to, again, get out in nature and get sunlight. So I want to read more Bible verses, and paint more pictures, but we'll get there in time, okay? God bless you. Take care.